Chapter 486. Inside the Longevity Hall. Chu Kuangren was dealing with internal affairs. Since Elder Ruyan and the others had gone into closed-door meditation, his workload had skyrocketed. Since the replacement disciples were still very young, their efficiency was naturally not as fast as Elder Ruyan and the others. The Horizon Wing sect is sending people over to exchange their cultivation insights. Although they are affiliated forces, the Horizon Wing sect has lent a helping hand to the Black Heaven sect when they were in danger. We can't neglect this. Let Nan Gonghuang and the other disciples have a good exchange with them. The 36 oceanic islands are being rebuilt, and they've sent people to invite us to attend the ceremony. Are they trying to reconcile with us? Now that they want to reconcile, I'm not going. There have been demonic chi eruptions in the Black Wind Prefecture and Black Water Prefecture recently, but the cause is unknown. This is quite strange. In this era of great battles, everyone from the heavens and earth wants to join in the fun. Chu Kuangren looked at the memorials that were submitted to him. The sudden increase in his workload made him feel helpless. This reminded him of Gu Linglong, who was far away in the Royal Azure Dynasty. She should be even busier than he was in charge of the internal affairs of the dynasty. This is so annoying. Why don't I quit and go into closed-door meditation too? Chu Kuangren stretched and said to Lan Yu, who was beside him. That won't do. How can a sect leader say something like that? If anyone else heard it, it would be embarrassing. At that moment, a voice came from outside the Longevity Hall. Elder Ruyan, who was dressed in a white robe, walked into the room. She rolled her eyes at Chu Kuangren and said, I thought sect leader would be able to handle it easily, but I can't believe you're already thinking of quitting after I left for less than 2 days. Chu Kuangren smiled awkwardly. Elder Ruyan, I thought you were going into closed-door meditation. Why are you out so soon? Isn't this all thanks to the tea leaves that the sect leader gave me? Speaking of which, what kind of tea leaves were those that allowed me to break through to the sage realm in just 2 days, saving me more than 10 years of accumulation? Elder Ruyan was still surprised when she thought of the tea leaves. That kind of treasure was too rare. It was definitely an emperor-grade treasure, and not just any ordinary emperor-grade treasure at that. That's the Tao Enlightenment tea. I've used some of the treasures that I obtained in the past, so I've asked Lan Yu to send some to you. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Aside from the Fairfrost sage who was cultivating the Enlightenment tea and a few other sages, no one else in the Black Heaven sect knew about the Enlightenment tea. This item is extraordinary and too precious. Many thanks to sect leader. Elder Ruyan has worked hard and made great contributions. It's only right. Now that I have broken through to the Saint Realm, there is no need for me to go into closed-door training. Since I have nothing to do anyway, I might as well come back to help the sect master manage some trivial matters. Really? That's great. Sect leader, stop pretending. Isn't this your plan all along? In short, it would be for the best if Elder Ruyan could return to help me. Chu Kuangren chuckled. He had indeed asked Lan Yu to deliver that Tao Enlightenment tea to Elder Ruyan on purpose. On one hand, it was out of friendship, and on the other hand, he wanted Elder Ruyan to break through to the Sage Realm as soon as possible so that she could return to help him manage the Black Heaven sect. Sigh, I was born with a life of toil, Elder Ruyan lamented. With Elder Ruyan's help, Chu Kuangren was able to sort out the remaining internal affairs in no time. He stretched his body. It's great that Elder Ruyan has returned. You've saved me a lot of trouble. I'll have to trouble you from now on. Then I'll be in your care in the future, sect leader. In the remaining days, the Black Heaven sect developed in an orderly manner. Aside from Elder Ruyan, the other disciples who were chosen to replace the elders had also improved by leaps and bounds. In just a few months, they were able to handle their respective duties with ease. This saved Chu Kuangren a lot of trouble as his days of free time gradually became more plentiful. He thought of the Acheron tablet that he obtained from the Acheron Manor, so he decided to go into closed-door training to study it. While Chu Kuangren was in closed-door training to study the Acheron tablet, the outside world was not peaceful. One of the 10 great forbidden areas, the Purgatory Forest. The Purgatory Forest was filled with skeletons. It was like an Azura's purgatory, hence its name. Today, a group of people suddenly appeared outside the purgatory forest. Each of these people exuded a strange demonic chi, and their leader was the Sky Pride Tuba, who was on the Soaring Dragon leaderboard. Although this person was on the Soaring Dragon leaderboard, he rarely fought, and his strength was a mystery. However, the fact that he was listed in the top 10 of the Soaring Dragon leaderboard was enough to show that he was extraordinary. So this is the Purgatory Forest, the Ashura tribe's territory. This scene really does have the characteristics of that group of people. A demon with a single horn on his head and yellow eyes grinned as he kicked a skull on the ground. Young master, there are a total of 18 restrictive spells in this purgatory forest, and they're all interconnected. It's not an easy task to enter. Beside Tuba was an old man in a white robe who was holding a black compass in his hand. On the compass, mysterious patterns of light flowed and released invisible waves, as if it was trying to find out the geographical features of the purgatory forest. Of course, it's not easy to enter the purgatory forest. Otherwise, this place wouldn't be one of the 10 great forbidden areas. This is also the reason why I've asked Elder Luo to come here. Elder Luo is the most outstanding formation master in the demonic realm, and the onyx demonic formation plate that you have is said to be able to break through tens of thousands of formations. It's ranked 3rd among the 33 sacred weapons of the demonic realm. With you here, these 18 restrictive spells are nothing to worry about. Tuba smiled faintly at the old man, and his words were filled with flattery. The old man seemed to feel a little smug from the compliments, and a proud look appeared on his face. Don't worry, young master. Since you've rescued me from the seal, I'll definitely break these 18 restrictive spells even if I have to sacrifice my life. Thank you, Elder Luo. Young master, the restrictive spells can be broken, but there are many experts in the Shura tribe, and there are even quasi-emperors among them. Young master, do you have a plan? Everyone, don't worry, we're not here to fight the Shura tribe head-on. Our goal is to destroy the great formation of the underworld. From what I know, the formation eye of the great formation of the underworld has been lost for many years, and now it's being maintained by a few quasi-emperors. Therefore, the quasi-emperors won't be able to deal with us. On the contrary, as long as we can destroy the formation, not only will we be able to open the passage to the demonic realm, but we'll also be able to cause the quasi-emperors to suffer from the backlash of the formation. That's great. Elder Luo, thank you, Tuba said as he looked at Elder Luo who was holding the formation plate. For the sake of the demonic realm, I'll do it without hesitation. Elder Luo said in a determined tone. Then, he walked into the 18 restrictive spells of the purgatory forest. Time flew by. Half a day passed. Suddenly, the entire purgatory forest started to shake. The 18 restrictive spells started to collapse one by one, and the purgatory scene in front of everyone disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by a normal forest. So everything before this was an illusion. It's a success. Elder Luo has successfully destroyed the 18 restrictive spells. Everyone, let's follow the plan. Tuba said as he led the way into the purgatory forest. Chapter 487. Outside the Inferno Forest, a black figure was rushing towards the Inferno Forest. This person was Zhan Hongying, who was ranked 2nd on the Soaring Dragon leaderboard. At the same time, she was also the Ashura tribe's saintess. Recently, there have been cases of demonic aura erupting all over the firmament star, and those places are the sealing nodes of the demonic sages and sage rulers. Someone is releasing these guys. This is no small matter, I must report this to the tribe leader and the rest as soon as possible. Zhan Hongying thought to herself. At this moment, there was a sudden violent energy fluctuation coming from the Inferno Forest. The originally dark red sky gradually returned to its normal color, and the landscape of the Inferno Forest also changed. Some of the originally dangerous places had actually become ordinary and unremarkable. It's gone, the 18 seals have disappeared. Zhan Hongying's expression changed, she was shocked. She realized that something must have happened to the Ashura tribe. She hurriedly increased her speed and rushed towards the depths of the Inferno Forest. At this time, the Azura clan was facing the attack of Tuba and the other experts from the demon world. As the quasi-emperors were maintaining the netherworld formation, they could not free themselves and could only rely on the clan leader of the Azura clan to lead a group of elders to resist the attack. The Ashura tribe was brave and good at fighting, but there were too many demonic realm powerhouses this time. The Ashura tribe was struggling to deal with them. Boom! The Ashura tribe leader threw a punch, and a majestic Ashura chi swept out, punching a demonic realm sage ruler. The demonic realm sage ruler had a horn on his head, and he held a black spear in his hand. Demonic aura flowed around his body, forming a vague shadow of a demonic dragon behind him. Single-horned demonic dragon sage ruler, damn it, weren't you sealed 40,000 years ago? The Ashura tribe leader's expression changed. For countless years, the underworld demonic realm had been eyeing Firmament Star covetously. As long as there was a chance, the demonic realm would invade Firmament Star. Some of these demonic realm powerhouses would be killed, while others were too strong to be killed. Hence, they were sealed. For example, the White Lotus Sage ruler sealed Cerberus. The one-horned demonic dragon in front of the Azura clan leader was also a member of the sealed demon clan. However, he was much stronger than Cerberus. Of course someone has helped me break the seal. Ashura tribe, you must be tired after guarding the Netherworld Great Formation for so many years. Why don't we help you break it today? The one-horned dragon demon laughed. He held the long spear in his hand, and the demonic energy on his body seemed to be able to tear the sky apart. Humph. All those years ago, the Nether Spring Grand Emperor set up a grand formation to seal the passageway to the Devil Dimension. We were entrusted by the Grand Emperor, so how could we allow all of you to act so arrogantly? Let's see how you defend this formation today. Inside the Azura race, a terrifying energy wave swept through the entire Purgatory Forest. When Zhan Hongying arrived and saw the countless dead Azura clansmen, her eyes turned cold. Today, all of you will die for this old lady. With a growl, crimson flowers bloomed on Zhan Hongying's body as a terrifying Dao rhyme erupted from her body. Flower of Azura, she is the saintess of the Azura clan. Tisk tsk, saintess. Let's kill her first. A demon realm expert sneered as he charged towards Zhan Hongying. He was extremely strong and was only a step away from becoming a sage ruler. But when he got close to Zhan Hongying, an enchanting blood flower gushed out along with vines, wrapping around him in the blink of an eye. There were also many sharp thorns on the blood flower, piercing into his body in the blink of an eye, sucking his blood in a frenzy. In just a short while, the demon realm expert was sucked dry and turned into a dried corpse. Pippi! Zhan Hongying shouted coldly. The black mist behind her surged and a wolf's howl resounded. The ferocious demonic wolf of hell turned into a ray of black light and dashed out. Wherever it went, it set off a black gale, and many demon realm experts were torn apart by its sharp claws. So powerful. It's the demonic wolf and the saintess. Don't underestimate her. Her strength is at least on par with a sage ruler. The demon realm experts were extremely fearful. At that moment, a large amount of demonic energy soared into the sky from afar. The Azura tribe members were shocked when they saw it. There was only one place in the Purgatory Forest that had demonic energy, and that was the Acheron Formation. However, the demonic energy that existed in the demonic realm had been sealed. But now, demonic energy soared into the sky. There was only one possibility. The formation has been destroyed. The Azura tribe leader's expression was extremely ugly. The demon realm experts were overjoyed. The young master has succeeded. The demonic realm has returned. The firmament is our territory now. Let's see if there's a second Acheron Grand Emperor to stop us this time. The demonic realm's prosperity begins now. Boom, 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 pillars of demonic energy soared into the sky and shook the earth. This terrifying demonic energy spread rapidly from the Purgatory Forest to the entire firmament star. All the experts could feel it. This aura is demonic energy. D**M it, this scale of demonic energy could only be seen during the demonic onslaught in ancient times. But wasn't the Acheron Grand Emperor using a formation to suppress the demonic realm back then? Could it be that the demonic realm has broken through the seal? This is bad. That passage to the demonic world is the largest known demonic well. Even an emperor can pass through it. If an emperor were to come here personally, the firmament star wouldn't be able to withstand it with its current strength. Could it be that the human realm is going to face a catastrophe soon? At this moment, all the cultivators in the firmament star, including the ancient beings in the forbidden grounds, looked in the direction of the purgatory forest. Compared to the scheming of the major forces in the firmament star, the demonic realm was the real enemy. As the demonic energy soared into the sky from the purgatory forest and gradually spread to the firmament star, the spiritual energy in the firmament star was also contaminated. Some cultivators did not have the experience of surviving in the demonic energy. After being corroded by the demonic energy collided with the spiritual energy, causing them to explode and die. This was only the cultivators. Needless to say, the ordinary people had no way of resisting the demonic energy. The ordinary people who were corroded by the demonic energy lost their minds and destroyed everything around them like demonic beasts. The area within a 10,000-mile radius of the purgatory forest was plunged into chaos, turning into a living hell. The demonic energy in the purgatory forest was still spreading. If it was not stopped, it would not take long for the demonic energy to completely cover the entire firmament star. When that time came, the ancient demonic onslaught would reappear, and the firmament star would become a part of the demonic realm of hell. This was the last thing the cultivators in the firmament star wanted to see. In an instant, the boundary emperors of the forbidden grounds appeared and flew towards the direction of the purgatory forest. Other than the demonic energy, the demonic creatures that were sealed in various parts of the firmament star also felt the arrival of the demonic energy. One by one, they broke through the seal and wreaked havoc everywhere. The entire firmament star was plunged into chaos. Every minute and every second, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, of millions of people died. This was a catastrophe. A catastrophe that could truly destroy the world. Chapter 488. While a catastrophe was happening on Firmament Star, far above the 9 heavens, somewhere in the void, a middle-aged man suddenly opened his eyes and looked in the direction of Firmament Star. This is the aura of the demonic realm. Has the demonic realm broken its seal? At this moment, at the highest point of the 9 heavens, Emperor's thoughts appeared in the void. The demonic realm has broken its seal. Someone must go down and stop it. Impossible. Firmament Star has yet to produce a new emperor, and the heavenly axiom has yet to fully recover. It can't withstand the power of an emperor. If we force ourselves to go down now, this great era that we've waited so long for will end. Who knows how many years we'll have to wait for the next one? Then are we just going to watch the demonic realm take over Firmament Star? Then what's the point of everything we've done? The heavenly axiom will not allow the demonic emperors to easily set foot on Firmament Star. Those demonic emperors will at most send 1 or 2 clones over. Although no one in Firmament Star has become an emperor, there are still many boundary emperors. There must be a way. Trust them. Even if the demonic emperors have the heavenly axiom to stop them, how long can they stop them? And how are we going to close the passage to the demonic realm? The emperor's thoughts conversed in the void. Sometimes, when they got excited, a powerful emperor's aura exploded in the void, causing the entire void to rumble. In the dark and silent cold universe, some meteorites that flew past were affected by the emperor's aura and turned into dust. The emperor's thoughts were arguing endlessly. Contact the divine predictor and ask him what he thinks. At this moment, an old emperor's thought appeared in the void. Far away in Firmament Star, on a mountain peak, the divine predictor was looking at a city shrouded in demonic chi. The city was in chaos. The cultivators were invaded by the demonic chi, which clashed with the spiritual power in their bodies and caused them to explode. Some were lucky enough to not be invaded by too much demonic chi, but they were still affected and fell into chaos. Needless to say, the people were invaded by the demonic chi and fell into madness. Some even directly mutated into strange and ferocious demonic beasts. Streams of light swept across the sky, heading towards the source of the demonic chi, which was the infernal forest. These were the quasi-emperors of the various forbidden lands. How many years has it been since I've seen something like this? Looks like this demonic onslaught has forced all these old fogies out. But what's the point? This catastrophe can't be quelled unless one is an emperor. Firmament Star is in danger. The divine predictor sighed as he looked at the streaks of light streaking across the sky. At this moment, a bronze mirror in his bosom glowed faintly. He took out the copper mirror and was not surprised. As expected, these old fellows have contacted me. Jianghu took out the copper mirror and said, "Everyone, how long ago was the last time you contacted me?" A pitch-black image of the universe appeared in the copper mirror. Cut to the chase. Jianghu, did you divine this catastrophe? An old voice came from the copper mirror. Yes, I guess so. Then why didn't you stop it? The old voice said with some anger. The heavenly Tao is incomplete, so my divination method is limited. Although I did divine the occurrence of the catastrophe, I don't know the specific details. Moreover, I'm only a sage at most. How could I stop a catastrophe like this? The divine predictor said helplessly. Alright, let's not talk about this. How can we stop this catastrophe? The impact of this catastrophe is beyond what Firmament Star's current strength can stop, unless an emperor personally comes. If we can survive, do we still need to contact you? The Firmament Star can't withstand the power of an emperor now. Moreover, those guys outside the Firmament Star are eyeing us. Once we leave, they will never let go of this opportunity. Is there any other way? Then we can only wait for one person. The divine predictor's deep gaze pierced through the demonic chi and looked into the distance. Who? The strongest person under the Firmament Star. The demonic chi continued to spread. As the demonic chi invaded, some demonic creatures that were sealed in various parts of the Firmament Star also broke through their seals and wreaked havoc everywhere. These demonic creatures were extremely powerful. Just the demonic chi that they released was enough to wreak havoc in half of the state. Roar. In the Black Wind Dao state, an angry roar reverberated in the sky. Terrifying demonic chi erupted from a mountain range. Then, a ferocious demonic ape that was hundreds of feet tall rushed out of the mountain range. Its roar was like thunder, shaking thousands of miles away. Demonic world, it's the aura of the demonic world. The demonic world has finally arrived. I've been sealed for so long, it's been a long time since I've tasted the taste of humans. This time, I'm going to have a good time. The demonic ape looked at a crowded city in the distance and leaped hundreds of miles away. In another place, inside a volcano. A humanoid existence that was covered in billowing black smoke climbed out of the volcano. Wherever the black smoke went, everything turned into ashes. It's been 70,000 years. It's been a full 70,000 years. I've finally seen the light of day again. Firmament Star, the Devil Sage Black Flame, have returned. The humanoid existence's eyes were like two blazing fireballs as he looked into the distance. There are many cultivators gathered in that direction. It should be an orthodoxy. Since the demonic realm has arrived, I don't need to hold back anymore. I'll start with you guys. The humanoid existence suddenly soared into the sky and turned into a cloud of black smoke. It carried a majestic demonic chi as it rushed into the distance. At this time, the Black Heaven sect was busy. Many cultivators were rushing to various places to help the people take shelter and defend against the demonic creatures that had broken through their seals. In the Longevity Hall, Elder Ruyan was communicating with the disciples from various places to coordinate the overall situation. The people of the Black Wind Dao state will first be settled in the Heaven Crystal Mine. We've set up a formation in the mine there that can temporarily resist the invasion of demonic chi. The people of the Horizon Wings sect are also helping people everywhere. However, one of their teams encountered a demonic beast in Jingcheng. Nangong Huang, your place is the closest to Jingcheng. Bring your people there and help them fight against the demonic beast. Keep in touch. Damn it, a demonic sea has suddenly appeared along the coast of the Snow Wind sect. Murong Xian, Qin Wushuang, you two hurry over. Everyone, please hurry. The demonic chi has now spread to the border of the Black Wind Dao state. Those who can't make it back in time, prepare your defenses. Be careful and don't let the demonic chi enter your body. Disciples below the Paradise Realm are not allowed to approach the area covered by the demonic chi. Elder Rian passed down orders one after another. All the disciples of the Black Heaven sect seized every minute and second to try their best to save the people. At this time, a powerful energy wave came from less than 10,000 miles southeast of the Black Heaven sect. A gigantic demonic ape was approaching the Black Heaven sect. Wherever it went, the mountains collapsed and the ground cracked. Demonic creatures are approaching. Activate the astonishing cloud of seas formation. Elder Rian said loudly. Black Heaven sect was shrouded in clouds. The demonic ape stopped outside the formation and observed with interest. In another direction, there was also a cloud of black smoke approaching the Black Heaven sect. Behind the black smoke was an extremely majestic demonic chi that covered tens of thousands of miles. The demonic chi violently collided with the astonishing cloud of seas formation and continuously interfered with its operation. The entire Black Heaven sect was shaken. Chapter 489. Boundless demonic chi gushed forth like a tidal wave, crashing into the astonishing cloud of seas formation. The entire formation was affected by the demonic chi, and many parts of it malfunctioned. Just when the entire Black Heaven sect was in turmoil, a golden ray of light suddenly shot into the sky. Then, a vast and boundless Buddhist light appeared in the void and turned into the silhouette of an ancient golden Buddha. The Buddhist light soared into the sky and spread out like water, dispersing the demonic chi wherever it went. The sky that had been engulfed by the demonic chi returned to normal. With the Black Heaven sect as the epicenter, the demonic chi within a radius of several million kilometers was cleansed. The cultivators and common people who had been affected by the demonic chi gradually calmed down and looked in the direction of the Black Heaven sect. Those who worshipped Buddha even knelt on the spot and prayed for Buddha's blessings. Meanwhile, the cultivators breathed a sigh of relief. He has made his move. With him around, the few states around here should be safe. In the Black Heaven sect, Chu Kuangren walked out of the towering Heaven Palace. He looked at the sky that was covered in demonic chi and quickly scanned the entire firmament star with his spiritual thought, locking onto the source of this calamity. The demonic realm has descended? You'll have to ask for my permission first. With a soft roar, the ancient Buddha's Buddhist light exploded once again, and Sanskrit chants reverberated across the sky. A gigantic golden palm reached out and aimed at the tall demonic ape outside the astonishing cloud of seas formation. Its terrifying domineering aura instantly locked onto him. What? The tall demonic ape's expression instantly changed. A look of horror appeared on his face as he urged the demonic chi in his body with all his might in an attempt to resist. However, his power was far too weak in the face of this palm. In just an instant, he was smashed into a pile of dust. Not far away, the being shrouded in black smoke was so frightened that it immediately fled into the distance. D***MN, how can there be such a terrifying being in this orthodoxy? The demonic sage had already scanned the orthodoxy with his spiritual thought. Most of them were ordinary sages. In his opinion, although the Black Heaven sect was considered a top-notch orthodoxy, he was strong enough to wipe them out. However, he did not expect to see Chu Kuangren here. Chu Kuangren's strength was many times stronger than his. Oh, running away? Where can you run to? Chu Kuangren sneered. As he raised his hand, the golden ancient Buddha stretched out its hand once more. That vast palm covered the heavens and earth, and its boundless might locked onto the demon saint. The great demon saint, who was shrouded in black smoke, felt the space around him suddenly solidify. There was no way for him to escape. Damn it, I just broke the seal, how can I die here? The demon saint roared as he activated the demonic chi on his body, forming a huge lava giant, wanting to take on this palm. He was indeed more powerful than the devilish ape from before, but there was no difference in the face of this palm. With a single palm strike, the devil chi collapsed and disintegrated. The lava giant and the great demon saint were also turned into powder. All disciples of the Black Heaven sect shall follow Elder Ruin's orders. Chu Kuangren said calmly, his voice echoing throughout the Black Heaven sect. Then, he took a step forward and disappeared into the void. In the Purgatory Forest, as the location of the demonic realm's passageway, the demonic chi was the densest there. It had almost become a paradise for demonic creatures. In the Ashura tribe's territory, demonic chi surged into the sky. In the sky, a huge demonic chi vortex appeared. Not only was there demonic chi in the vortex, but there was also a terrifying spatial fluctuation. That was the demonic realm's passageway that the Ashura tribe had been sealing for many years. Now that the seal of the demonic realm's passageway had been broken, the Ashura tribe was in an unprecedented crisis. Boom! A black lightning bolt shot out from the demonic chi vortex and landed on the ground. A figure could be seen within the black lightning bolt. It was a demon wearing black armor and holding a lightning spear. The demonic chi on his body was terrifying. This aura, it's a boundary emperor. The Ashura tribe leader's expression changed. There were also quasi-emperors in the Ashura tribe, but because the underworld formation had been destroyed, the quasi-emperors had suffered a backlash and could not exert much of their combat strength. The demon quasi-emperor in front of them was probably just a vanguard. Sure enough, just as the Ashura tribe leader was thinking about this, figures rushed out from the demonic realm's passageway. There were hundreds of thousands of them, ranging from the weakest to the strongest. All kinds of demonic beings filled the Purgatory Forest. Everyone in the Ashura tribe had an extremely ugly expression on their faces. The human world, we're here again. The boundary emperor of the demonic realm who had come out first laughed. His eyes swept across everyone present like lightning. When he saw the Ashura tribe, his eyes were filled with disgust. He said coldly, if I want to conquer the human world, I'll first destroy the Ashura tribe. The Ashura tribe will fight to the death. The Ashura clan leader said coldly. His eyes were filled with determination. They had persisted for hundreds of thousands of years. Guarding the passageway to the demon world was a mission passed down from generation to generation. Even in the face of such danger, they could not retreat. There would only be Asuras who died in battle. There would never be Asuras who ran away. Every member of the Ashura clan had a fearless battle intent in their eyes. Very well. The Ashura tribe is still the same. Even after hundreds of thousands of years, your fighting spirit has not been worn down. Although the boundary emperor of the demonic realm hated the Ashura tribe, he could not help but show a hint of respect when he saw their imposing manner. The Ashura tribe lives for battle. To die in battle. We will not retreat. The Ashura tribe leader roared, his fighting spirit soaring into the sky. To die in battle. To die in battle. To die in battle. The Ashura tribe leader roared. The surging fighting spirit that surged from his body surged into the hearts of every demon present. Then come at me. The boundary emperor of the demonic realm was the first to attack. He thrust his spear forward and a majestic lightning-based Daoist rhyme erupted like a torrent. A few boundary emperors of the Ashura tribe also attacked at the same time to resist his power. The rest of the Ashura tribe also fought with the demonic realm army. In an instant, the demonic chi soared into the sky and the fighting spirit raged. Everything within 100,000 kilometers was shocked. The Ashura tribe was brave and good at fighting. It could be said that few in the same cultivation realm were a match for them. However, this time, they were fighting in the demonic chi. Furthermore, there was an endless stream of demonic realm creatures pouring into the sky dome realm from the demonic realm. It could be said that there was no end to them. They outnumbered the Ashura tribe by many times. As time passed, the Ashura tribe gradually fell into a disadvantage. Boom! Tu Ba punched out and clashed with Zhang Hongying's fist. The tyrannical fist energy nearly tore Tu Ba's arm apart, causing him to retreat by more than 100 meters. Even so, Tu Ba did not panic at all. No wonder you're ranked second on the Hidden Dragon ranking. You're indeed powerful. Unfortunately, the Demon Realm's invasion is unstoppable. It's just a matter of time before your Ashura clan is destroyed. Even if I die, I will drag you down with me, Zhan Hongying said in a cold tone. I'm afraid you can't do it. Tu Ba looked at the demonic realm passage in the sky and saw a few more figures rushing out. There were 4 demons, one was a 3-headed hellhound, one was a strong man with a long saber, one was a demoness with a human head and a snake body, and the last one was a skeleton covered in black hellfire. Every one of these 4 demons possessed the cultivation of a quasi-emperor. They were extremely terrifying. Chapter 490. Another 4 demonic boundary emperors arrived. The 4 of them came to Tu Ba's side. The skeleton covered in hellfire said, "Greetings, young master. Young master has successfully broken the seal of the underworld formation and helped the demonic realm to descend. You have done us a great service." Tu Ba revealed a smile in his eyes as well, and he said, "Where's my father? Has he come?" The firmament star is currently restricted by the heavenly axiom, so it won't be easy for the Lord Demon Lord to enter the firmament star. However, he has already sent a doppelganger here. According to my estimation, he'll be here soon. Let's clear the obstacles for the Lord Demon Lord first, the skeletal boundary emperor said calmly. He looked at the Shura tribesmen, his pitch-black eye sockets burning with hellfire. Everyone who was stared at felt their scalps go numb. For boundary emperors, and they seem to be the strongest among the boundary emperors. We're in trouble. Damn it. Could it be that we really can't escape this calamity? Hang in there. At that moment, streaks of light flew over from the sky. A terrifying boundary emperor aura filled the sky above the purgatory forest. The boundary emperors of the forbidden grounds of the firmament star had arrived. Humph, the demonic realm is coming. They still have to get through us. One of the boundary emperors snorted and raised his hand. Boundless spiritual power poured out like a flood, instantly turning a large group of demonic creatures into dust. They're here. These fellows are too slow. The boundary emperors of the Shura tribe calmed down slightly. The demonic realm was not only a matter of the Shura tribe, but the entire firmament star. They were not fighting alone. Oh, many boundary emperors are here? The skeletal quasi-emperor chuckled and did not panic in the slightest. Once the passageway to the demon world was opened, no one would be able to stop it unless it was a martial emperor. Even if there were more quasi-emperors, it would be useless. It was because of this that the skeletal boundary emperor and the others were not afraid. Demon, die. A burly man from the firmament star attacked instantly. He punched down from the sky, and a majestic Daoist rhyme intertwined in the void, turning into a giant fist that was aimed at the skeletal boundary emperor. However, the skeletal quasi-emperor snorted coldly and a large amount of hellfire spewed out of its body. The gigantic fist print was instantly incinerated into nothingness after coming into contact with the hellfire, unable to harm the skeletal quasi-emperor at all. This scene caused the expressions of the quasi-emperors to change slightly. Quasi-emperor Lin Yi's strength is considered strong among the quasi-emperors, but his attack was easily neutralized. It seems that the strength of these demonic world quasi-emperors cannot be underestimated. This is going to be a catastrophe. Everyone, please give it your all. The survival of Firmament Star lies in our hands. Go. The longer this dragged on, the wider the demonic chi became. The quasi-emperors did not say much and immediately began to clear out the demonic calamity. With the addition of the quasi-emperors, the pressure on the Azura race lessened significantly. Moreover, the battle between the quasi-emperors was not something that could be easily interfered with. Terrifying Daoist rhymes intertwined in the void, and the energy waves released were enough to easily kill a sage. Many people did not dare to get too close and could only retreat far away. In an instant, the entire purgatory forest was divided into two battlefields. A large number of demonic creatures were dealt with by cultivators below the level of quasi-emperors, while the quasi-emperors fought with the quasi-emperors in the sky. The brilliant energy waves almost dyed the entire sky in colors. There were only 5 quasi-emperors on the side of the demonic world. Against a dozen or so quasi-emperors, no matter how strong they were still suppressed. However, these quasi-emperors did not panic at all. They mainly focused on defense and were obviously stalling for time as if they were waiting for something. The passageway to the demonic world has not been closed, and the experts of the demonic world will continue to enter Firmament Star. The longer we delay, the more disadvantageous it will be for us. Quasi-Emperor Tian Shui of the Nether Abyss Valley said. However, everyone knew what she meant, but they could not do anything about it. Stop struggling pointlessly. No matter what you do, it will all be in vain. The skeletal quasi-emperor laughed out loud, and a boundless and horrifying hellfire burst out of its skeletal body, forcing the group of quasi-emperors to retreat. On the other side, the human-headed, snake-bodied quasi-emperor opened his mouth and spat out a large amount of black venom. The venom was extremely toxic, and just the gas that it emitted was enough to cause all the flowers and plants within a radius of thousands of miles to wither. Even a quasi-emperor would feel their scalp go numb when faced with such a venom, and they would not dare to approach it carelessly. We can't go on like this. Let's trap them first, then think of a way to seal the passageway to the demonic world. One of the quasi-emperors said. Then, he took out a golden compass, which flew into the air and released mysterious runes that turned into a huge sphere that trapped the 5 demonic world quasi-emperors in place, making it impossible for them to leave. After doing all this, the quasi-emperor's face instantly turned extremely pale. This array can only seal them for an hour at most. Let's hurry. All right. A few quasi-emperors came to the bottom of the demonic chi vortex, and they activated their spiritual power, turning into beams of light that shot towards the passageway in the sky, attempting to close it. However, the scale of the passageway to the demonic world was too huge, and the spatial fluctuations it emitted were extremely terrifying. Even the strength of a quasi-emperor couldn't shake it in the slightest. Let's help too. Let's do it together. All the quasi-emperors present attacked together, and terrifying spiritual power shot towards the passageway to the demonic world. Under the efforts of the quasi-emperors, the huge demonic chi vortex gradually showed signs of shrinking, and everyone couldn't help but be delighted when they saw this. There's hope. Come on, it might be possible. However, when the demonic chi vortex shrunk to a certain size, it could no longer shrink, and it was useless no matter how hard the quasi-emperors present tried. It's all in vain. The skeletal quasi-emperor who was trapped in the array sneered. At this moment, a powerful fluctuation came from the passageway to the demonic world. A beam of black light shot out, and the energy fluctuations released by all the quasi-emperors were easily shattered in a short period of time. More than a dozen quasi-emperors suffered the backlash of the energy, and were sent flying. The skeletal quasi-emperor and the others from the demonic world were overjoyed, and they looked towards the passageway. A black-haired, black-robed middle-aged man with eyes as deep as the stars slowly walked out, and a vast emperor's aura emanated from his body as if it was about to shatter the void. The entire purgatory forest was shaking, and even half of Firmament Star was shaking. Such power, is he an emperor? Damn it, we can't defend against such power at all. The quasi-emperors were horrified under the surging emperor's aura, and they couldn't help but tremble. Greetings, Lord Demon Emperor. The skeletal quasi-emperor and the others, on the other hand, knelt on the ground in ecstasy, and bowed respectfully to the middle-aged man. The scene before them completely plunged them into despair. The demon emperor himself had arrived. Human realm, I'm here again. The middle-aged man's gaze swept across everyone present, and he said coldly, those who obey me will prosper, and those who oppose me will die. From today onwards, I am the master of Firmament Star. His arrogant voice rumbled like thunder, resounding through the clouds, and could be heard clearly across half of Firmament Star. *T. Chapter 491. Those who obey me shall prosper, and those who oppose me shall perish. From today onwards, I am the master of Firmament Star. The demon emperor's arrogant voice echoed across half of Firmament Star, plunging countless cultivators into despair. Right at this moment, a clear and cold shout that was like a thunderclap resounded abruptly. Bulsh *T. As the roar rang out, everyone saw an ancient Buddha suddenly appearing in the sky above the purgatory forest. Boundless Buddhist light poured out like a tidal wave, shaking the entire universe and cleansing the demonic chi in the air. Amidst the bright light, a golden Buddhist palm with terrifying power tore through the air and headed straight for the demon emperor. The demon emperor was slightly surprised. He then raised his hand to channel his demonic chi and unleashed a palm attack as well. The demonic chi formed a giant palm print in the void and struck out. When the two powerful forces collided, white cracks appeared in the void as if it was about to shatter. The shockwave that swept out caused the entire terrain of the purgatory forest to suffer unprecedented damage. More than half of it was destroyed, and smoke and dust billowed. It was like the scene of doomsday. The boundary emperors at the scene were forced back thousands of meters, and even the demon emperor was forced back a few steps. This scene made everyone from the demonic world narrow their eyes, and their faces were filled with shock. The demon emperor was forced back by a single palm attack. Who the hell was that person? The demonic realm has descended? Dominator of the Firmament Star? You'll have to ask for my permission first. A cold voice rang out, accompanied by an extremely domineering aura. In the air, a white-robed, black-haired young man slowly walked through the air. A beautiful ancient sword hung at his waist, and he was dressed in a white robe with wide sleeves. His handsome appearance and arrogant demeanor formed the most unforgettable scene in everyone's life. That person was the top-ranked cultivator, Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren is here. So he's the supreme sage? What a powerful aura. The boundary emperors looked solemn as a glimmer of hope appeared in their eyes. When the demon emperor saw Chu Kuangren, his expression turned extremely gloomy. It's you again. Everyone was shocked when they heard that. It seemed like this demon emperor was acquainted with Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren was slightly surprised as well. He then activated his Eye of Revelation to check on the demonic emperor before him. Demon Emperor Pride, one of the 7 emperors of the demon world, current state is a doppelganger. Chu Kuangren could not help but click his tongue in wonder when he saw that. It's you again. A long time ago, Chu Kuangren had crossed paths with this demonic emperor in the winged human tribe. At that time, the demonic emperor was also only a clone. However, compared to the clone from back then, this clone was much more powerful. It was infinitely close to becoming an emperor. I didn't expect that when I descended again, you would still be my greatest obstacle. In just a few short years, you've actually improved to such an extent. Demon Emperor Pride was also very shocked. His talent was already one of the best in the records of the demon world, but even he did not dare to imagine that in just a few years, he could cultivate from a venerable to a level that was stronger than most quasi-emperors. This was almost unbelievable. There are a lot of things that you can't imagine. For example, this doppelganger of yours will still be destroyed by me today. Chu Kuangren said calmly. Then, a surge of surging Daoist rhymes spread from his body, fighting against the demonic emperor's domineering aura. You may be strong, but in the face of the emperor's Dao, you'll still lose. The demonic emperor said coldly as his surging emperor's aura spread. All the boundary emperors who felt this domineering aura felt that their Daoist rhyme had been suppressed, and they could not unleash their full strength. An emperor suppresses all abilities. The emperor's Dao had an absolute suppression effect on all Daos below the emperor's Dao. Therefore, cultivators below the emperor's realm would never be able to fight against an emperor. Although the demon emperor Pride before them was only a doppelganger, he could use the power of the emperor's Dao. It was not something that the boundary emperors present could fight against. Emperor's Dao? I wonder if you can suppress the heavenly Dao. Chu Kuangren let out a soft roar. The Daoist rhyme on his body suddenly changed, and a majestic heavenly might emerged from his body. In the sky, dark clouds gathered and lightning flashed. It was as if the heavenly Tao was enraged. At this moment, it was as if Chu Kuangren had become the incarnation of the heavenly Tao. The majestic heavenly might shocked everyone at the scene. The heavenly punishment Daoist rhyme was not affected by the emperor's Tao at all. Even in the face of the emperor's Tao, Chu Kuangren could still unleash his full combat strength. How is this possible? How can someone in this world use the power of the heavenly Tao? Once again, Demon Emperor Pride was shocked by Chu Kuangren. Then, an extremely cold murderous intent burst out from his eyes. Now that there are no emperors in the firmament star, it's the best time for the demonic realm to take over the firmament star. Even with an anomaly like you, the demonic realm's invasion is unstoppable. You must die here today. Come, let's give it a try. Chu Kuangren said coldly, and the descendant's self-sword at his waist was unsheathed. Without another word, he swung his sword, and a dazzling and magnificent purple sword ray swept out along with a majestic wind pressure. Let me see how much you've improved over the years. Demon Emperor Pride snorted and unleashed a punch of his own. When the sword and fist collided, both Chu Kuangren and Demon Emperor Pride were forced back. With his supreme sage body, Chu Kuangren was not afraid of the impact of the attack at all. He raised his hand and swung his sword again. After that, he unleashed the Tathagata rebirth mantra, Raging God's Fist, Heart-Piercing Finger, and various other emperor techniques one after another. Demon Emperor Pride could not help but shudder when he saw that. Why does he have so many emperor techniques? Not far away, Zhan Hongying and Tuba could not help but be shocked when they saw the battle between Chu Kuangren and the Demon Emperor. Although they were all Sky Prides on the Soaring Dragon leaderboard, Chu Kuangren could already fight a Demon Emperor. On the other hand, they were still messing around with a sage. The gap between them was too obvious. CK I don't know if it's just my imagination, but why do I feel like this guy's gotten stronger? Zhan Hongying let out a weird cry and said with a doubtful look in her eyes. Beside her, the infernal demonic wolf Pippi let out a howl as if in agreement. He's indeed gotten stronger. The group of boundary emperors also noticed the change in Chu Kuangren. All of them were shocked. How long had it been since Chu Kuangren unlocked the heavenly punishment seal? How could he improve so quickly? After all, at their level of cultivation, every single improvement was extremely rare. Sometimes, it was possible for one to be stuck at a certain stage and not make any progress for thousands or even tens of thousands of years. However, Chu Kuangren had improved every few days, which was too much of a blow to their confidence. Only the boundary emperors of the Nether Abyss Valley could guess what was going on. Brother Chu's improvement is because he's found his own Tao. That's right. He's now confirming his own Tao. Finding one's own Tao was the most crucial step in one's cultivation realm. Once one succeeded, it was not impossible for one's cultivation to improve by leaps and bounds. Pride Demonic Tome, Proud Heart Art. Demon Emperor Pride raised his hand and channeled his demonic chi to form a black demonic saber. With a slash, a domineering aura emanated and intimidated the world. The pitch-black saber ray shrouded the heavens and earth as it pounced towards Chu Kuangren. Chapter 492. Pride Demonic Tome, Everlasting Heart Technique. As he unleashed his attack, the boundless demonic chi converged into a chilling saber ray that charged towards Chu Kuangren. In the face of such a saber ray, Chu Kuangren had a rare look of seriousness on his face. Oh, so this is the power that's closest to an emperor? He gripped the descendant's self-sword in his hand tightly and channeled the heavenly punishment Daoist rhyme to its maximum. The heavenly poise surged from his body, shocking everyone. A blood-red flame suddenly appeared on his body. The 9 Deaths Blazing Blood art was activated. Although the 9 Deaths Blazing Blood art did not increase his strength by much, he had to give it his all in the face of Demon Emperor Pride's attack. Then, a black armor covered his body. It was the Emperor weapon, the innate ferocious armor. On his body, countless Daoist rhymes circulated and merged to form an overbearing transcendental strength. His ferocious chi and battle intent erupted as well. The 3 great Daoist physiques were activated at the same time. As the sword slashed out, a terrifying sword chi that was fused with the evil chi, sword chi, power of all things, and the Daoist rhyme of heavenly punishment swept out. That kind of power caused the entire void to tremble. White lines spread out, and the void could not withstand this sword and was torn apart. The sword chi and the blade light collided in front of everyone's eyes. The power that burst forth in that instant was extremely tyrannical, and the sweeping force spread out in all directions. The already fragmented purgatory forest became even more disorderly, like snow on top of snow, and became even more disorderly. Two completely different Daoist rhymes clashed with each other, filling half of the sky with their energies. Chu Kuangren and Demon Emperor Pride were once again pushed back by their opponent's power. This time, even with Chu Kuangren's supreme sage body and innate ferocious armor, he was still affected. He felt a tightness in his chest and a sweet taste in his throat as if blood was about to gush out. However, that feeling disappeared after a while. The immortal body effect was activated. His immortal body had now reached the fourth realm, the blood rebirth realm. As the name suggested, as long as he had a drop of blood left, he could be resurrected again. Not to mention, his self-healing ability was much stronger than the third realm. I didn't expect you to be hiding an imperial armament on you. You were able to take on my attack head-on. After the impact, Demon Emperor Pride almost vomited blood. However, in order to maintain his dignity as a demon emperor, he forcefully held it in. He stared at Chu Kuangren in shock, especially when he saw the emperor weapon. As a demon overlord, he also had an imperial armament. However, he had come here with a clone, so it was impossible for him to bring an imperial armament with him. A monarch weapon? Heh, I want to see how long you can last. Chu Kuangren raised his arm and a golden trident appeared in his hand. Emperor armament, Neptune's halberd. 2 monarch weapons. You actually have 2 monarch weapons. Demon Emperor Pride's expression changed slightly. Chu Kuangren had 2 emperor weapons, one for offense and the other for defense. Hence, the combat strength that they could unleash was undoubtedly more terrifying. Do you think that's all? Chu Kuangren smiled and took out the sacred emerald sword case. This time, all the quasi-emperors present were startled. With their extraordinary eyesight, they were able to tell that the sword box was also a monarch armament. 3 monarch armaments. Chu Kuangren actually had 3 monarch armaments on him. And monarch armament was enough to make a top-notch orthodoxy yearn for it. Even the heavenly golden palace and the bottomless chasm could not find a monarch armament. Only the ancient orthodoxies that possessed a complete emperor's inheritance in the 9 heavens would have such a precious treasure. There were not many of them in the firmament star. However, Chu Kuangren had taken out 3 of them all by himself. What kind of opportunity of fortune was that? Compared to the previous 2 emperor weapons, the sacred emerald sword case's emperor's aura was not as strong. However, that did not hide the fact that it was an emperor weapon. In fact, the sacred emerald sword case's true strength was not in terms of attack or defense. Chu Kuangren gently patted the sword case, and in an instant, an incredibly mysterious Daoist rhyme emerged from the sword case. The sword case opened, and one by one, long swords flew out. Majestic sword chi swept across the void. The 365 swords were all sage weapons. Some of them had even reached the level of great sage or sage ruler weapons. Under Chu Kuangren's control, the 365 sage swords formed an incredibly powerful sword formation that surrounded Demon Emperor Pride. As the sword chi raged, an all-encompassing force of nature was born within it. It was the 4 seasons sword formation that Chu Kuangren had not used for a long time. The 4 seasons sword formation appeared, and the sky was filled with sword chi that shocked everyone. On the demonic realm side, Elder Luo, who was known to be able to break through tens of thousands of formations, could not help but exclaim when he saw this sword formation. This sword formation is too mysterious. It's even more powerful than the Purgatory Forest's 18 layers of restrictive seals. I can't believe this person can cast a sword formation of this level. With the sword formation and emperor weapon, Chu Kuangren once again battled Demon Emperor Pride. He dashed out and entered the range of the sword formation. With the sky full of sword chi at his disposal, he charged towards Demon Emperor Pride with a single thought. He then activated the Empyrean Neptune's halberd and swung it at Demon Emperor Pride as if it was carrying an entire ocean. Demon Emperor Pride could only see his opponent raising his saber to block the attack. However, upon contact, he was pushed back by the Emperor weapon's might. What followed next was the sword chi from the sword formation that rushed towards him. Demon Emperor Pride could not help but feel a little fearful. He channeled his demonic chi to form a protective barrier around his body to block the sword chi. Even so, he could not completely block the attack, and his robe was torn by some sword chi. How can this guy do this? He realized that his clone was being suppressed by Chu Kuangren. If this went on, it was only a matter of time before he lost. At that thought, he was so furious that his face was so gloomy that it looked like it was about to drip water. Once again, Chu Kuangren had defeated his clone again, and once again, he was about to stop him from descending. Being defeated by the same person twice in a row, and it was even by a young junior. This made him feel like he was about to lose all his dignity. Chu Kuangren did not care what Demon Emperor Pride was thinking. Since he had the upper hand, he did not hold back at all. He unleashed his full strength and forced Demon Emperor Pride to retreat. Not long after, Demon Emperor Pride's body was covered with wounds, and he looked extremely pathetic. Demon Emperor Pride's name alone was enough to tell what kind of person he was. Now that he was beaten up in front of countless demonic cultivators, he was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Meanwhile, Tuba, the skeletal boundary emperor, and the others were also in disbelief. Although it's just a clone, this is the first time I've seen my father in such a pathetic state. This Chu Kuangren is just too abnormal. Tuba looked at Chu Kuangren with fear. Compared to the demonic cultivators, the Firmament Star's boundary emperors were relieved. Although some of them were dissatisfied with Chu Kuangren's way of doing things, there was nothing more reassuring than having Chu Kuangren as their ally. Let's leave Demon Emperor Pride to Chu Kuangren. Let's seal off the passage first. One of the boundary emperors said. However, it was extremely difficult to seal off the passage to the demonic realm with their current strength. Just as they were about to seal off the passage, several extremely powerful auras came from the passage. Chapter 493. Pride, this is the first time I've seen you in such a sorry state. A sinister laughter came from the demonic realm's passageway. An incomparably huge black snake had emerged from the demon world's passageway. Its pale yellow snake eyes carried a hint of mockery. A powerful shockwave erupted from the gigantic black snake's body. Once again, the boundary emperors suffered an energy backlash and were sent flying. After the gigantic black snake emerged from the passageway, it turned into a skinny, short man with a sinister aura that gave everyone goosebumps. Aside from the skinny man that the black snake had transformed into, a few more figures walked out from the passageway. These people all had different appearances. There was a charming woman, a 3-meter-tall giant with a malevolent-looking face, and a three-headed hound. Aside from their appearances, these few people had one thing in common. That was, all of these existences were emanating an incomparably tyrannical emperor's aura. They were no weaker than the Pride Demon Emperor. Gulp, the boundary emperors could not help but gulp, their eyes filled with shock. What was going on? One Pride Demon Emperor was more than enough for them to handle. Yet now, there were a few more existences that were on the same level as him. There was no way they could fight this battle. Oh, what a grand entrance. Chu Kuangren's gaze swept across the few emperors' aura-pressuring existences, and their information appeared one by one. Sloth Demon Emperor, originally an underworld Cerberus, currently in a cloned state. Lust Demon Emperor, originally a demonic succubus, currently in a cloned state. Greed Demon Emperor, originally an underworld demonic snake, currently in a cloned state. Wrath Demon Emperor, Envy Demon Emperor, Gluttony Demon Emperor. The information of the 6 people appeared one by one. All of them were clones. Obviously, even with the demonic realm's passageway, it would be difficult for these demon emperors to personally descend into the firmament realm. Hence, they could only descend with their clones. The 7 underworld demon emperors are all here. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Even in the face of such a situation, he still maintained his composure. Young lad, you look very calm. The Wrath Demon Emperor, who was as muscular as a mountain and looked like a mini giant, grinned. He raised his hand and threw a punch at the sword formation. The entire sword formation exploded, and Pride also seized the opportunity to charge toward the place where the Wrath Demon Emperor had attacked. He raised his saber and slashed down. Black Saber Light Sword, forcibly tearing a hole in the Four Seasons sword formation and dashing out. You guys are too slow. Demon Emperor Pride looked at the few Demon Emperor clones in dissatisfaction. Hee, if I had come too early, how could I have seen the mighty Demon Emperor Pride being suppressed by a human? Demon Emperor Greed chuckled. If he didn't have the help of others, it would be the same if any of you went up against him. This person is not to be underestimated. Demon Emperor Pride said coldly. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. They had never thought that the arrogant Demon Emperor would say such a thing. The few demonic emperors looked at Chu Kuangren with a meaningful look in their eyes. But it doesn't matter. Now that the clones of the 7 great demon emperors have arrived, and there are no emperors left in the firmament star, the outcome has been decided. The Envy Demon Emperor said calmly. That's right. No matter how strong this kid is, there's nothing he can do in the face of such a lineup. He's definitely going to lose this battle. The other Boundary Emperors and Ashura tribe members of the Firmament Star could not help but feel despair. With the 7 great demon emperors here, only an emperor could stop such a lineup. Just as the Envy Demon Emperor had said, the outcome had been decided. The outcome has been decided? There's nothing you can do? I don't know where you get your confidence from to say such things in front of me. Chu Kuangren said calmly. Kid, open your eyes wide and take a good look. No matter how strong you are, you're only one of us. How are you going to turn the tide? Why waste your breath on him? He'll only be trouble if we let him live. Let's get rid of him first. The Demon Emperor of Avarice was the first to strike. With a palm attack, the majestic demonic chi converged into a giant serpent head that swooped towards Chu Kuangren. A terrifying suction force erupted from the mouth of the Demon Emperor of Avarice, constantly pulling Chu Kuangren's body. The Wrath Demon Emperor, Gluttony Demon Emperor, and Envy Demon Emperor also attacked at the same time. Several terrifying energy turbulence swept out as Chu Kuangren swung his Empyrean Neptune's trident halberd. However, he could still gain the upper hand against one Demon Emperor Pride. Now that he was outnumbered, he could not hold on any longer. Even he was blasted hundreds of meters away and smashed into a rock wall. With a loud boom, the rock wall instantly shattered into countless pieces of gravel and sand. Even he's no match for them. It seems like the Firmament Star will not be able to escape this time. The Boundary Emperors felt even more despair when they saw that. Meanwhile, Tuba and the others from the demonic realm breathed a sigh of relief. The scene of Chu Kuangren suppressing the Demon Emperor Pride was too shocking for them. They even doubted if the demonic realm's descent would be successful. Now that the Demon Emperors had joined forces to suppress Chu Kuangren, they regained their confidence. It seems like he's not invincible after all. Tuba thought to himself. Then, he laughed and shook his head. How can anyone in this world be invincible? It seemed like he had heard too many rumors about Chu Kuangren and the Firmament Star. Just like the others, he almost thought that Chu Kuangren was invincible. I thought he was powerful, but it turns out he's just a braggart. The Greed Demon Emperor could not help but sneer when he saw Chu Kuangren being blasted into the rock wall. Then, he looked at the Boundary Emperors present. Alright, let's get rid of these people next. There's no need to rush. The battle between us isn't over yet. At that moment, an indifferent voice came from the dust not far away. Chu Kuangren walked out from the dust. The jade crown that he used to tie his hair had fallen off, and his black hair was flying in the air, making him look even more arrogant. Not only was Chu Kuangren unharmed after being attacked by a few demon emperors, but his aura had also grown stronger as he stood before them. How can this be? Even if he has an emperor weapon to protect himself, how can he remain unscathed after taking that kind of attack? Now I finally know why Demon Emperor Pride was defeated by this guy. He's indeed extraordinary. I can't believe Firmament Star has produced a sage like him. The Demon Emperor's expressions turned serious. Just when they were about to continue attacking Chu Kuangren, they saw Chu Kuangren lift his arm and draw lines of silvery white patterns in the void. They then formed into a gigantic spatial congealing rune that suddenly fell from the sky. When the spatial congealing rune appeared, the Demon Emperor's attacks froze for a moment. Following that, a ball of red light appeared in Chu Kuangren's hand. It was the 9 Profound Heavens fire barrier, which was specifically used to trap people. Chu Kuangren tossed it out and covered the Demon Emperors. What a joke. Trying to trap us with a Boundary Emperor weapon? Heh, it's enough to trap us for a few breaths' time. Chapter 494. The 9 Profound Elemental Fire Barrier completely trapped the demonic emperors within it. Although the demonic emperors were powerful, they were only clones. Chu Kuangren's Spatial Freeze Rune and 9 Profound Elemental Fire Barrier were enough to trap them for a few breaths' time. Everyone was puzzled by Chu Kuangren's words. So what if he could trap the demonic emperors for a few breaths' time? It would not hurt them anyway. Once the demonic emperors escaped, it would not affect the situation at all. Your efforts are futile. Do you really think you can seal the demonic realm's passage in a few breaths' time and get rid of us? The greed demonic emperor sneered. Perhaps. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Then, a surge of sword chi erupted from his body. An incredibly mysterious sword-based Daoist rhyme circulated around his body and formed a sword of the heavens. In an instant, all the swords in Firmament Star flew into the sky as if they were summoned. The powerful swordsmen on Firmament Star gripped their long swords tightly, wanting to suppress them. However, they suddenly sensed something and looked towards the direction of the Purgatory Forest. Chu Kuangren is borrowing the swords. Is he planning to use them to fight against the demonic realm? If that's the case, why not lend them to you then? Borrowing the swords of the world to fight against the demonic realm. In this world, only Chu Kuangren would be capable of doing something like this. Chu Kuangren, let us lend you a hand then. All the swordsmen let go of their control over their swords. They even channeled their spiritual energies into their swords and tossed them into the air to lend Chu Kuangren a hand. Sword chi soared into the sky as countless swords flew towards the direction of the Purgatory Forest. In the Purgatory Forest, the Boundary Emperors looked at Chu Kuangren in shock. At that moment, Chu Kuangren spread his spiritual thoughts to cover the entire Firmament Star. He continuously cast the spatial conveyor technique to increase the speed of the flying swords. In just a few breaths' time, countless swords were rushing towards the Purgatory Forest from all directions. Look! Someone in the crowd let out a cry of surprise. From afar, a large black shadow could be seen approaching. Upon closer inspection, it was a dense cloud formed by countless long swords. The long swords flew towards Chu Kuangren's direction, and the clanging sounds of collision could be heard as the sword chi danced in the air like a giant dragon. The countless swords surrounded Chu Kuangren like a god of swords. Chu Kuangren stood amidst the billions of swords, controlling the sword chi of heaven and earth with every move he made. His power was so strong that it seemed endless. Break! Demon Emperor of Greed, Demon Emperor of Envy, and the others destroyed the 9 Profoundly Fire Barrier. They looked at the billions of swords in front of them with ugly expressions. Even they were frightened by the scene before them. Today, I will use this sword of the heavens to suppress your devil realm. Chu Kuangren said proudly as he was surrounded by countless long swords. He focused his sword fingers, and the swords around him seemed to have been summoned. They released streams of sword chi and flew toward the demonic world's passage in the sky. At the same time, a powerful sealing force erupted from the swords. It was the legendary spell that Chu Kuangren had obtained some time ago, the Sealing Sword Formation. He activated the exquisite 9 Orifices sword heart and guided the billions of long swords in Firmament Star to unleash a sealing sword array that was extremely terrifying. Not many beings could withstand it. Chu Kuangren even suspected that even an emperor would be trapped by this sealing power. Not to mention these demon emperor avatars. Not good, he wants to use this firmament sword chi to seal the passage to the demon realm. This kind of power. We can't let him succeed. Demon Emperor Pride's expression changed. Initially, they thought that only an emperor would be able to seal the demonic realm's passageway. However, now that Chu Kuangren had activated such a terrifying sword formation and unleashed such a terrifying sealing power, perhaps the demonic realm's passageway could be sealed even without an emperor. With that, the demonic emperors could no longer remain calm and tried to stop Chu Kuangren. Kid, stop right now. The Wrath Demon Emperor was the first to strike. He threw a punch at Chu Kuangren, and a surge of Emperor's aura erupted. However, Chu Kuangren did not even spare him a glance. He was no longer alone, he had gathered all the Sword Dao energy in the entire firmament star. How terrifying was such a power? Unless an emperor came personally, no one below the emperor realm would be able to fight against Chu Kuangren. Break! Chu Kuangren uttered. A majestic sword chi pierced through the air, instantly shattering the Wrath Demon Emperor's demonic chi and Daoist rhyme. The Wrath Demon Emperor was blasted away by that power. What a terrifying sword chi! This kind of power isn't his alone. Of course not. This is the firmament star's sword Dao energy. Chu Kuangren pulled out his descendant's self-sword and slashed across the sky. The domineering purple sword ray was like a torrent that tore apart the heavens and earth. The Wrath Demon Emperor's expression changed drastically. Before he could activate his demonic chi to defend himself, a silver-white rune had already landed on his body. The Spatial Freeze Rune. Boom! The Wrath Demon Emperor's body was blasted by the sword chi, and his entire body exploded into a mist of blood. Meanwhile, the other demonic emperors rushed to the edge of the demonic realm's passageway, intending to defend against this sealing sword formation. Devourer of Greed. Everlasting Heart Technique. Eye of Jealousy. Several powerful emperor techniques erupted with terrifying demonic chi, but the power of Chu Kuangren's sword chi torrent was too horrifying. In particular, the terrifying sealing power sealed the void in an instant. The attacks of the demon emperors disintegrated on the spot in the face of the sealing power. The sword chi that filled the sky seemed to have turned into a terrifying sword chi dragon, engulfing the bodies of the demon emperors. In the blink of an eye, the demonic emperor's clones were instantly reduced to dust. All the boundary emperors were dumbfounded. The demonic emperor's clones that left dozens of boundary emperors helpless were dealt with by Chu Kuangren just like that? That kind of power was just too horrifying. Inside the demonic realm, a few figures suddenly flew into the sky from the few palaces. Surges of terrifying emperor's aura instantly spread, and within it was a surge of anger that terrified all living beings in the demonic realm. B***starred, how dare you destroy my clones? D***mnet, this is the second time. This is the second time. D***mnet, the demonic realm's descent has failed just like that. The 7 demonic emperors were enraged. They hated Chu Kuangren to the core. After offending the 7 demonic emperors, Chu Kuangren had almost become the enemy of the entire demonic realm. Outside the demonic realm, in the purgatory forest, billions of long swords intertwined in the void, and surges of sword chi resonated with each other, forming into a sword chi dragon that pierced into the demonic realm's passageway. A powerful sealing power instantly erupted, and the endless demonic chi retreated like a tidal wave before it was once again sealed into the demonic realm. The billions of long swords also merged into the void, forming a sealing sword formation that covered thousands of kilometers. In the sky, the huge and deep demonic realm's passageway began to close under the sealing power of the sword formation and eventually disappeared. The remaining demonic realm cultivators were already filled with despair when they saw that. This was especially true for the one-horned demonic dragon and the others. Initially, they thought that they would be the greatest heroes of the demonic realm after the demonic realm's descent. However, they did not expect things to change so quickly. With Chu Kuangren's arrival, their hopes were completely shattered. Chapter 495. Run. Only death awaits us if we continue to stay here. The one-horned demonic dragon and the other demonic cultivators looked at each other before they quickly fled in different directions. Don't you think it's a little too late to leave? An indifferent voice suddenly rang out. A powerful sword-based Daoist rhyme spread from Chu Kuangren's body and instantly locked onto all the demonic cultivators. Following that, numerous runic swords formed in the void and shot out in all directions. In the blink of an eye, not a single demonic cultivator was spared. Chu Kuangren had single-handedly turned the tide of the battle and ended the catastrophe. All the cultivators looked at Chu Kuangren with indescribable awe in their eyes. There was no doubt that Chu Kuangren was their savior at this moment. It's all thanks to you, Brother Chu. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid we wouldn't have been able to survive this catastrophe alone. That's right. Brother Chu, you're truly the best cultivator in this world. The boundary emperors walked up to Chu Kuangren and bowed respectfully. No matter what happened in the past or in the future, they admired Chu Kuangren from the bottom of their hearts. Apart from myself, I have to thank all the other swordsmen in this world for lending their swords to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to seal the demonic realm's passageway with my sealing sword formation alone. Chu Kuangren glanced at the seal and felt a sense of relief in his heart. Ha, you're too humble, Brother Chu. After settling everything, Chu Kuangren and the others did not stay in the Ashura tribe for long. Although the demonic realm had been sealed, its influence was still there. Many demonic beasts had broken through the seal. These demonic beasts still needed to be dealt with. However, with the help of the boundary emperors and Chu Kuangren, it was not a big problem. It only took them a day to deal with it. When they returned to the Black Heaven sect, they began to calculate the casualties caused by the demonic realm's invasion. Although it had not been long since the demonic realm's invasion, the damage was still immeasurable. Just the few states under the Black Heaven sect's jurisdiction alone had suffered hundreds of millions of casualties, and that was the result of the Black Heaven sect's timely rescue. Otherwise, the number of casualties would have been much higher. Fortunately, it's all over now. Yeah. Chu Kuangren nodded slightly. Then, his expression changed slightly. He sensed that a few people had arrived outside the Black Heaven sect's mountain gate, and there was even a gust of demonic qi among them. Could it be the remnants of the demon world? Chu Kuangren activated his spiritual thought. Soon, he noticed that the newcomers were Zhan Hongying of the Ashura clan, Mo Lang, and the patriarch of the Ashura clan. Outside the Black Heaven sect's mountain gate. A few disciples were looking at Zhan Hongying warily, especially the demon wolf beside her, which made them even more fearful. After all, they had just experienced a demonic disaster, and now a powerful demonic creature had appeared in front of the mountain gate. If it was anyone else, they would be on guard. Let them in. At that moment, Chu Kuangren's words rang in the ears of the disciples. Everyone looked at each other. Yes, sect leader. Only then did everyone make way for him. Zhan Hongying, the Shura clan leader, and the others entered the Black Heaven sect. A disciple led them to the Longevity Hall. Greetings, fellow Daoist Chu. The Ashura clan leader cupped his fists and bowed, not daring to be slow. Ashura clan leader, please take a seat. May I know what business you have with me? Chu Kuangren asked. Well, now that the demonic realm's passageway has been sealed by fellow Daoist Chu's sword formation, we would like to know if the Ashura clan should continue to guard it. If so, how should we guard it? This was the reason why the Ashura clan leader came to look for Chu Kuangren. In the past, the Ashura clan was entrusted by the Acheron Emperor to guard the demonic realm's passageway for hundreds of thousands of years. Now, the one who sealed the demonic realm had suddenly become Chu Kuangren. He needed to discuss with Chu Kuangren, such as if there was anything he needed to pay attention to about the sealing sword formation. The Ashura clan resides in the Infernal Forest. If possible, please continue to guard the demonic realm's passageway. Chu Kuangren said solemnly. Chu Kuangren now had a sense of respect for the Ashura clan. After all, not everyone would devote their entire clan's strength to guard the demonic realm and protect the people for hundreds of thousands of years just for a promise. Of course. The Azura clan leader nodded. Since the Azura clan was entrusted by the Acheron Emperor, they naturally would not reject his request. Moreover, after so many years, they had already taken root in the infernal forest. Even if they were to leave, they would not know where to go. After that, both parties discussed about the sealing sword formation, and Chu Kuangren told them about the things they needed to pay attention to. Finally, he took out a strange stone tablet. It was the Acheron tablet. This is the Acheron tablet that I obtained from the Acheron Manor. It's time to return it to its rightful owner. Chu Kuangren said calmly. In the past few days, he had already fully understood the various mysteries of the Acheron tablet. Looking at the Acheron tablet before him, the Azura clan leader had a complicated look in his eyes. If it wasn't for the internal strife that caused the Acheron formation to shake, how could we have lost this Acheron tablet? If we could find this Acheron tablet earlier, perhaps the demonic realm's invasion wouldn't have happened. The Azura clan leader had already found out from Zhan Hongying that the Acheron tablet was in Chu Kuangren's hands. However, they did not blame Chu Kuangren for not returning the Acheron tablet in time. After all, no one knew that Tuba and the others would plan an invasion against the Azura clan so soon. Moreover, Chu Kuangren did not know much about the Azura clan at that time. How could he have returned the Acheron tablet based on Zhan Hongying's one-sided statement? Huh? Suddenly, the Azura clan leader noticed something and his expression changed. The Acheron Emperor's power in this Acheron tablet is gone? Chu Kuangren frowned. This tablet has been like this ever since I obtained it. It's never had any Emperor's power. This Acheron tablet is the core of the Acheron formation, so it should have some Emperor's power. I get it, it's Acheron Manor. Suddenly, the Azura clan leader had a look of realization. Acheron Manor has been stealing the Acheron tablet for so many years, so the Emperor's power in it must have been depleted. No wonder they could develop to such a scale in just a few tens of thousands of years. It seems like the firmament star is destined to face this calamity. The Azura clan leader lamented. Even if the Acheron tablet was returned to the Azura clan, it would not be able to restore the Acheron formation. The descent of the demonic realm was a necessary event. Yet now, it was solved by Chu Kuangren. After discussing with Chu Kuangren about how to suppress the demonic realm's passage, the Azura clan leader and Zhan Hongying left. However, not long after, someone else came to visit the Black Heaven sect. This time, it was a familiar face. Oh, Senior Predictor. Inside the Longevity Hall, Chu Kuangren received someone. It was one of the most mysterious beings in the firmament star, the Predictor. Brother Chu, please accept my gratitude for sealing the demonic realm and saving the firmament star. The moment they met, the Predictor bowed at Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren immediately went forward to support him. You're too kind, Senior Predictor. After all, I'm still a part of the firmament star. Huh, Brother Chu, besides me, there are others who would like to express their gratitude to you. The Predictor smiled. Chapter 496. There are others? Chu Kuangren could not help but feel puzzled when he heard what the Divine Predictor said. He had a hunch that these people that the Divine Predictor mentioned were not as simple as they seemed. The Divine Predictor then took out a bronze mirror and tossed it into the air. A dazzling light flashed, followed by surges of Emperor_S aura that spread in all directions. Within the light, figures began to appear one after another. All of these people possessed a strong Emperor_S aura. These people were all emperors. The strong Emperor_S aura came one after another, alarming many cultivators. Everyone used their spiritual thoughts to spy on the Black Heaven sect, and when they saw the emperors, they were all shocked. Even if they were just illusions, they still represented emperors. How many years had it been since an emperor had appeared in Firmament Star? What_S going on? Why are there so many emperors? Also, why is that Divine Predictor in Black Heaven sect? I_V heard a rumor that the Divine Predictor is in contact with the emperors. Could it be true? Did the divine predictor bring all these emperors here? That/s most likely the case. Everyone was in awe as they observed the emperor illusions. Then, an even more shocking scene unfolded before their eyes. The emperor illusions bowed in Chu Kuangren/s direction. The emperors were bowing. At that moment, the cultivators of Firmament Star were shocked like never before. They were all emperors. They were high and mighty emperors who stood above billions of living beings. Yet now, these emperors were bowing to a single person. What kind of honor was this person? Even Chu Kuangren was stunned for a moment. He did not expect the emperors to bow to him in such a manner. Brother Chu, we were unable to descend upon Firmament Star. It/s all thanks to you for stopping the calamity. This bow is our gratitude. Among the emperors, a white-haired old man smiled kindly at Chu Kuangren. You/re too kind, emperor. Heh, we/ll be waiting for you in the Firmament Star. The old man smiled. Then, the emperor illusions began to dissipate. The thick emperor/s aura also slowly disappeared. However, the scene of the emperors bowing to Chu Kuangren was still unforgettable for many cultivators on Firmament Star. Their respect for Chu Kuangren grew even stronger. Senior Tianji, don't tell me you're here just to bring the martial monarchs to express your gratitude? Chu Kuangren chuckled. Tian Jizi stroked his beard and said, apart from that, I do have something else to tell you. What is it? The Emperor's Road is about to open. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up when he heard that. The Emperor's Road was about to open? In other words, the grand finale of this era of great battles is finally here. Chu Kuangren's eyes were filled with anticipation. Not bad. When will the Emperor's Road open? It is estimated to be a year later, and the geniuses of the Nine Heavens have already received the news, and have all returned to the Nine Heavens to prepare. Many thanks for coming to inform me, Senior Tianji. It's all right. Besides, the Emperor's Road will only reopen after 150,000 years. The Emperor's Road will connect the underworld, Firmament Star, the Nine Skies, and the Three Lands together. Moreover, there might be more than one throne. At the end of his sentence, even the divine predictor was a little uncertain. Since it was related to the Emperor's Road, even his derivation technique could not deduce everything clearly. He only had a vague idea. All in all, the Emperor's Road is about to open, and the battle for the throne is about to enter its final stage. Please be prepared, Brother Chu. Of course. Chu Kuangren nodded. By the way, please keep this with you, Brother Chu. Once you enter the Emperor's Road, it might be of help to you. The divine predictor took out a jade scroll. Chu Kuangren took it and glanced at it. It contained a lot of information about the major forces and geniuses of the Nine Heavens and Underworld. Chu Kuangren pondered for a moment before he kept it. Thank you. After chatting with the divine predictor for a while, this mysterious fellow then left again to wander the world. Now that he found out that the Emperor's Road was about to open in a year's time, Chu Kuangren felt that he had to do something, so he looked for Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, Shang Qingxue, and the other Daoists. It seems like it's been a long time since I've arranged training for you guys. Chu Kuangren's first sentence shocked Nangong Huang and the others. It was as if they were reminded of something unbearable in the past. Sect leader, do you mean? Nangong Huang was a little uneasy as he asked cautiously. Yes, it's exactly what you're thinking. Sect leader, why are you suddenly thinking of training us again? The Emperor's Road is about to open. Chu Kuangren said calmly. Everyone's expression changed drastically when they heard that. It was just a few words, but it brought them a great shock. We understand. Nangong Huang nodded with a serious expression. In the following time, Nangong Huang and the others also immersed themselves in the training that Chu Kuangren had arranged for them. All kinds of cultivation resources from the Black Heaven sect were also given to them. While Chu Kuangren arranged all kinds of training for Nangong Huang and the others to improve their strength, far above the Nine Heavens, the various geniuses from the lower realms returned one by one. Their return caused quite a stir in the 9 heavens. At the same time, they also brought news about Chu Kuangren to the various orthodoxies. The name Supreme Sage Chu Kuangren had spread throughout the orthodoxies of the 9 heavens, and many people were familiar with him. 9 heavens, the ancient orthodoxy, the Bai family. The Bai family's head was having a meeting with Xiao Jingchen. Tens of thousands of years ago, Xiao Jingchen came to the Bai family and joined them as their son-in-law. Due to his outstanding talent, he was put in an important position by the Bai family. They did not hesitate to help him descend to the lower realms to fight for all kinds of opportunities of fortune. When he returned to the Bai family, he brought news about Firmament Star to the Bai family's head, including news about Chu Kuangren. He managed to break free from the heavenly punishment and even became a supreme sage. I can't believe there's such a person in the lower realms. The Bai family's head pondered for a while before he asked, if you were to fight him with an emperor weapon, what do you think your chances of winning are? At most, 2. Only 2. The Bai family's head said in shock. Xiao Jingchen nodded with an unpleasant expression. To be honest, in his heart, he did not even have 1% of confidence, let alone 2%. He only said that because he did not want to embarrass himself. Then in your opinion, how does Hongyu compare to him? Bai Hongyu was the Bai family's forbidden sky pride. Her combat strength was peerless, much stronger than Xiao Jingchen. Not more than 5%, Xiao Jingchen said. All right, I understand. You may leave now. Xiao Jingchen nodded slightly and retreated. Chu Kuangren, perhaps this person will be the biggest obstacle on the emperor's path. Other than the Bai family. The other orthodoxies in the 9 heavens such as the Wang family, the heavenly fox tribe, the 9-headed snakelet tribe, and other orthodoxies all had their eyes on Chu Kuangren. Of course, some people thought highly of him and thought that he was an obstacle. Some people thought that it was too much of an exaggeration, thinking that Chu Kuangren was not as mysterious as everyone made him out to be. All in all, although Chu Kuangren was not in the 9 heavens, his reputation had gradually spread. Chapter 497. Time passed quietly, and a year had passed in the blink of an eye. In a mountain range within the Black Heaven sect's boundary, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others were cultivating hard. The one who was fighting them was none other than Chu Kuangren, or rather, Chu Kuangren's sword chi clone. It was just like the hellish training from before. The familiar formula and the familiar power had caused Nangong Huang and the others to suffer for the past year. However, despite their hard work, they had improved tremendously. Now, Nangong Huang and the others were all experts who could hold their own. They could even fight against a sage king. With some treasures, they could protect themselves even if they encountered a quasi-emperor. As for Chu Kuangren, his strength had become more and more unfathomable over the past year. Not only that, but he had also traveled to almost every forbidden area in the Firmament Star, sparring with the boundary emperors and gaining a deeper understanding of his own Tao. He had also gotten quite a number of good items from the gacha. Some of them were used by him, while others were used to strengthen the Black Heaven sect's foundation. Apart from the number of strong cultivators, no other orthodoxy in the Firmament Star could compare to the current Black Heaven sect in terms of foundation. Chu Kuangren even dared to say that even the ancient orthodoxies in the 9 heavens might not have as deep a foundation as the Black Heaven sect. The Black Heaven sect now only lacked an emperor to truly become an emperor-level orthodoxy. Looking at the time, the emperor's path should be opening soon. Chu Kuangren murmured on a large blue stone. He casually unleashed a sword chi that turned into a clone to fight against Nangong Huang and the others. Since they were already being suppressed by a single sword chi clone, they could not help but grumble as they stared at Chu Kuangren resentfully. Sect leader's strength is getting more and more insane. Even a 7-step sage ruler wouldn't be able to last long against the few of us, yet we can't even defeat a sword chi clone of our sect leader. What realm do you guys think he's in? After the training, Nangong Huang and the others sat on the ground as Murong Xian casually said. The others were also guessing. Over the past year, they had also asked Chu Kuangren, but he always said that he was still in the sage realm. They could not help but roll their eyes. Even the boundary emperors of the forbidden areas were respectful to him, yet he said that he was just a sage. Who would believe that? Could he have advanced to martial emperor? Xianxia asked curiously. That's impossible. The emperor's road has not even opened yet. How could anyone become a martial emperor? Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others were discussing. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, only smiled and did not say a word. He looked at the sky and murmured, "Is it really impossible to become an emperor in the age of chaos? Or is it only possible to become an emperor within the emperor's road?" This was something he had been thinking about for the past year. He did not lie to Nangong Huang and the others. Strictly speaking, his cultivation realm was indeed at the level of a sage. However, he was a supreme sage, and like a quasi-emperor, he had found his own path. His combat strength was stronger than most quasi-emperors. From ancient times until now, there were not many people like him. His path of cultivation seemed to have deviated from the normal path of cultivators. Forget it, let's take it one step at a time. Chu Kuangren shook his head and laughed. Right now, I should think about how to advance to martial emperor first. A few days later. Suddenly, a strange fluctuation appeared in firmament star. All the great ones sensed it and looked towards the source of the strange fluctuation. Then, in the misty ocean, one of the 10 great forbidden areas of firmament star, a golden beam of light suddenly shot into the sky, and a powerful spatial fluctuation spread. The Emperor's road has opened. Is this the direction of the misty ocean? Why is it there? That's one of the 10 great forbidden areas. The misty ocean is filled with turbulent undercurrents and countless oceanic beasts. It's extremely dangerous, and there's a natural force field that prevents cultivators from flying. Now that the entrance to the Emperor's road has appeared there, even a sage ruler can't easily enter, let alone those sky prides. Many great ones discussed among themselves. They were very surprised that the entrance to the Emperor's road had appeared in the misty ocean. Meanwhile, in the Black Heaven sect, Chu Kuangren looked in the direction of the misty ocean. It's finally opened. Brother, can I really not go with you? Beside Chu Kuangren, a 13 or 14-year-old girl with rosy lips and white teeth looked at Chu Kuangren reluctantly. That girl was a godly phoenix. She was the godly phoenix that had taken on the form of a sage. Chu Kuangren smiled as he patted her head and said, "Aside from me, you're the strongest person in the Black Heaven sect now. Although the boundary emperors in those forbidden areas are very obedient, who knows if they'll try anything funny after I enter the Emperor's road. I can be more at ease with you around." "All right then. I'll stay here and help you look after the Black Heaven sect," the godly phoenix Lil Red said. The Black Heaven sect was Chu Kuangren and her home. Although the Black Heaven sect had a strong foundation, it still needed an absolute powerhouse to oversee it. Aside from Chu Kuangren, only the godly phoenix was capable of that. Black Heaven sect, in front of the Longevity Hall. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, Jun Yi, Xianxia, and the others had already gathered. At that moment, Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu walked over. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath and said, "The Emperor's road has opened." Besides the sky prides of the firmament star, the sky prides of the underworld demonic realm and the 9 heavens will also enter. Besides, no one knows what will happen in the Emperor's road, so it's still not too late if you want to back out now. Sect leader, haven't we been preparing for a year just for this moment? That's right, we've already made up our minds. None of the Daoists were willing to give up on this opportunity. Chu Kuangren had expected this as well. Very well, let's go then. Chu Kuangren raised his hand and took out the elusive mirage. The giant elusive mirage soared into the sky, and everyone boarded it and headed towards the misty ocean. Meanwhile, outside the misty ocean, countless cultivators had gathered there, staring at the giant golden pillar of light with longing in their eyes. That was the entrance to the Emperor's road. The reappearance of the Emperor's road that had disappeared for hundreds of thousands of years excited many cultivators. Although the Emperor's Road has appeared, how are we supposed to enter the misty ocean? Yeah, even saint rulers don't dare to barge into the misty sea. Are we just going to watch from the side? I don't care. The Emperor's Road is right in front of us, so I'll give it a try even if it kills me. Many cultivators took out their ferry boats and placed them on the surface of the ocean. There was some kind of natural force field in the misty ocean that prevented cultivators from flying. If they wanted to enter, they could only ride on a ferry boat. Moreover, the ferry boat could not fly, so it could only be used as a normal boat. Some cultivators entered the misty ocean on a ferry boat, but before they could sail for more than a few miles, a terrifying roar came from the sea. A ferocious sea beast emerged from the surface of the sea, and with a loud bang, it smashed the immortal boat into pieces. The cultivators on the immortal boat fell into the water, and then they were dragged into the sea by tentacles that came out of nowhere, and there was no more movement. The cultivators at the shore of the misty ocean could not help but gulp when they saw that. Chapter 498. Outside the misty ocean, a large number of cultivators had gathered and were staring at the Emperor's Road with fiery eyes. However, they were afraid of the dangers of the misty ocean, so they did not dare to go forward. At that moment, a pitch-black giant ferry boat suddenly appeared from afar and landed on the surface of the misty ocean. Immediately afterward, a streak of sword chi shot out from the ferry boat. The terrifying sword chi poured down like a torrent, and the mist on the surface of the misty ocean quickly dispersed, revealing a wide path that led straight to the Emperor's Road. On both sides of the path, there were countless fine sword chis. The sword chis interweaved to form a wall, blocking the fog on both sides of the path. A single sword chi split the misty ocean apart. It's him, he's here. Chu Kuangren, he's here. How can the Emperor's Road not include him? What a powerful sword chi. To think that he would be able to split the bewildering fog sea into two. Duh, he's someone who could destroy the ancient battlefield with a single palm strike. Splitting the ocean with a single sword strike is nothing to him. As the misty ocean was split apart, everyone quickly took out their ferry boats and followed behind the elusive mirage. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren stood on the deck of the elusive mirage with his spiritual thoughts. Nothing in the surrounding sea could escape his senses. The Misty Sea, one of the 10 great forbidden areas. According to ancient legend, an emperor had once fallen here, causing endless resentment. Thus, this mist that hasn't dispersed for over 100,000 years was formed. Countless oceanic beasts reside here, and it can be said to be the most dangerous place amongst the 10 great forbidden areas. Chu Kuangren murmured. Through his spiritual thoughts, he could sense many powerful beings in the depths of the misty ocean. Some of them were no weaker than a boundary emperor. Not only that, but there were also some places that even his spiritual thoughts could not detect. It was a very mysterious place. If there was anything in the firmament realm that Chu Kuangren was afraid of, the misty ocean was one of them. Fortunately, the entrance to the Emperor's Road was only at the periphery of the misty ocean and not its depths. The group then headed towards the Emperor's Road. Soon, they arrived before the giant light pillar. This golden light pillar shot straight into the sky as if it was connected to the 9 underworlds and the universe. It emanated waves of powerful spatial fluctuations. Enter. Chu Kuangren said. Just as they entered the light pillar, an incredibly powerful spatial energy enveloped them. Shi City, Wu family. The Wu family was one of the top families in Stone City. It was a famous existence within millions of miles. The master of the Wu family was a Holy King realm expert. In the entire Emperor Road, he was considered an expert. But today, the Wu family was facing an unprecedented catastrophe. Wu family head, hand over the green glass magic lamp. Otherwise, the Wu family will be gone today. Inside the Wu family, a big man with bare arms laughed. Beside him, there were a few other cultivators who were similarly emanating powerful auras. Every single one of them was a sage king. In front of the saint rulers was a middle-aged man covered in wounds. His presence was weak, and his face was pale. Originally, he was also a saint ruler, but now he was surrounded by several saint rulers. Now, he was like an arrow at the end of its flight, and if he continued to fight, he would definitely die. Family head, if you don't hand over the magic lamp, do you really want to see the Wu family die with you? A gray-robed old man looked at the Wu family head with ridicule and said. Hearing his words, the Wu family head's eyes were filled with hatred. First Elder, I didn't expect you to collude with the three big families to harm your own people. Today, even if I have to fight to the death with you, I will never let you succeed. The Wu family head took out a green lantern. The whole body of the lantern was like colored glass. It had 4 sides, which were painted with exquisite patterns and flowing with Daoist rhyme. It was the green glass magic lamp passed down from generation to generation in the Wu family. It was said that this was a powerful emperor weapon. However, for so many years, no one had seen the Wu family use this emperor weapon. Only the family head of the Wu family knew how much it cost to use this emperor weapon. Now, for some unknown reason, the 3 big families had their eyes on this emperor weapon. Moreover, with the help of the First Elder, they were probably going to destroy the Wu family. Poor First Elder. He thought they would help him ascend to the position of the family head. Thinking of this, the Wu family head couldn't help but sneer. If you want to destroy the Wu family, then please be prepared to die with us. Oh no, he is going to use the green glass magic lamp? No, didn't they say that this emperor weapon can't be used? The big man's face changed and said. The Wu family head said coldly, for so many years, no one has seen the Wu family use this emperor weapon. Over time, everyone thought that no one could use this emperor weapon. However, they didn't know that this emperor weapon can be used as long as you are prepared to die. After saying that, a large amount of blood mist suddenly burst out of the Wu family head's body. The blood mist was all injected into the green glass magic lamp. Suddenly, a little flame bloomed in the lamp. Although the flame was weak, it was filled with a surging emperor's pressure. Using one's own essence and blood as the lamp oil, one can activate the emperor weapon. So, the rumor is actually true. The First Elder looked at the green glass magic lamp, and his face changed. Damn it, why didn't you tell us about this earlier? The big man glared at the First Elder. I thought it was just a rumor. I didn't expect it to be true. The First Elder said in a panic, what should we do now? It seems that he is forcibly activating this emperor weapon with a secret method. He won't be able to hold it for long. Don't fight him head on. The big man said, and then he retreated. At this moment, the Wu family head shouted, and the green glass magic lamp bloomed with brilliant light. The practitioners who were enveloped by the light were enveloped by an extremely powerful force, and their bodies exploded one after another. Even the existence of the sage realm was no exception. Zhang family, Qian family, by family, I will make you pay for what you have done today. The Wu family head roared. He activated his spiritual power, and aimed the power of the emperor weapon at the few sage kings who came to attack him. A golden light burst out from the green glass magic lamp. The big man's face changed, and an armor suddenly appeared on his body. It was a top-notch sage weapon. He pushed out with both hands, and resisted the power of the emperor weapon. With a rumble, a terrifying airwave spread out quickly with him as the center. The big man spat out blood and flew backward. He looked at the Wu family head with a pale face, so powerful. It is indeed an emperor weapon. He was severely injured with just one blow. This was when he was wearing a sage weapon, and the Wu family head was in a weakened state. Die. The spiritual power in the Wu family head's body surged, and his aura was like a rainbow. The green glass magic lamp shone brightly, and it was about to show its power again. The First Elder, the big man, and the other sages looked a little flustered. The disciples of the Wu family, on the other hand, looked hopeful. However, at this moment, the Wu family head's face changed, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The power of the magic lamp was reduced by more than half. He was already seriously injured, and he used his blood essence to activate the magic lamp. He could not hold on for long. This is a good chance. The first elder and the big man were delighted, and they quickly attacked. Chapter 499. This is our chance. Seeing that the Wu family's head was in danger, a few sage rulers quickly made their move. Surging spiritual power erupted as several types of extremely powerful sage techniques were unleashed towards the Wu family's head. The patriarch of the Wu family was unable to react in time and was struck by the force on the spot. Even with the body of a saint ruler, it was difficult to resist and he was sent flying on the spot. The azure glass magic lamp in his hand also flew into the air and the light in the lampshade also gradually weakened. The burly man, the senior elder, and the others were about to rush forward to snatch it back. However, at that moment, a beam of light suddenly descended from the sky, and a dense spatial fluctuation appeared. The sudden change made everyone's expression change slightly. When the beam of light dissipated, a handsome young man in a white robe and black hair was seen standing in the middle of the battlefield. The divine green glaze lamp just happened to fall on top of his head, and he subconsciously reached out to catch it. He held it in his hand and carefully examined it. Oh, this is an emperor weapon. Are all the opportunities of fortune of the emperor's path given out so casually? The white-robed young man, who was Chu Kuangren, could not help but exclaim. He was transported to this place by a powerful spatial energy the moment he entered the emperor's path. As for the others, they were probably transported to some random place in the emperor's path as well. However, an emperor weapon fell from the sky just as he was transported here. He did not know what to say about his luck. Could it be that the opportunities of fortune of the emperor's path were so abundant that even emperor weapons were given out so casually? Who are you? At that moment, one of the sage rulers who surrounded the Wu family asked cautiously. Chu Kuangren's appearance was so sudden that they did not notice him at all, so they had to be vigilant. Could he be a helper that the Wu family found? At that thought, the few sage rulers present looked at Chu Kuangren with hostility. While everyone was observing Chu Kuangren, he was also looking around. His spiritual thoughts gushed out and covered a radius of 100,000 kilometers. And this was the limit of what he could do in the Emperor's Road? Chu Kuangren frowned. My spiritual thoughts have been restricted. This Emperor's path is a little different from the outside world. Hey, answer my question. Seeing that Chu Kuangren was ignoring him, the sage ruler who had asked the question was extremely annoyed. A cold glare shot out from his eyes as he stared at the sacred green glaze lamp in Chu Kuangren's hand. Meanwhile, the hand behind his back was secretly accumulating spiritual power. Chu Kuangren retracted his spiritual thought and focused on the situation at hand. I seem to have gotten myself into some kind of trouble. Boom! At that moment, the sage ruler beside Chu Kuangren suddenly unleashed his power. A powerful wave of spiritual energy erupted. I don't care who you are. Go to hell. A mere Saint King dares to be so impudent? Chu Kuangren gently lifted his hand, and a surge of spiritual power that was even more terrifying than a sage ruler erupted. With a boom, the moment the two spiritual energies collided, the saint ruler cried out miserably on the spot. His entire arm had been reduced to a bloody mist by an extremely powerful force, and the residual force had sent the saint ruler flying. He fell to the ground like a broken kite. What? Such powerful strength. The people from the other clans couldn't help but narrow their eyes at this scene. I can't believe clan head Xian was defeated with just one move. How is this possible? How can there be such an expert in the Stone City? This person's background is mysterious, and he's very powerful. It's best not to fight him head-on. When the people from the other clans saw Chu Kuangren, their eyes were filled with unprecedented fear. They were already thinking of escaping. We'd like to ask for your name, Daoist brother, so that we can accept our defeat. The burly man who was previously injured by the green glaze magic lamp looked at Chu Kuangren solemnly. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that this emperor weapon is fated to be mine, so I want it. If you guys want to snatch it from me, I don't mind killing a few of you, Chu Kuangren said calmly, but his tone was extremely cold. There was no reason for Chu Kuangren to reject an emperor weapon that was given to him. The sage ruler seemed to be shocked by Chu Kuangren's words. They looked at each other, not daring to step forward. Do you know who wants this green glaze magic lamp? I don't know, Chu Kuangren replied nonchalantly. In that case, I hope you won't regret this. The burly sage ruler gave everyone a look after he said that. One day, you'll pay for what you've done today. The Grand Elder spat before he turned around and left with the burly man. The other cultivators were preparing to leave as well. Wait a minute. At that moment, Chu Kuangren spoke. He looked at the Grand Elder and said, You were threatening me just now, weren't you? I'm just telling the truth. If that's the case, you can stay here and don't leave, Chu Kuangren said. He then gently lifted his arm and an invisible surge of mind power gushed out. Lines of mysterious runes suddenly appeared around the Grand Elder. These runes intertwined with each other and emitted a colorful glow. Following that, streams of energy exploded in an earth-shattering manner. With a loud bang, the first elder was blasted into nothingness by that incomparably violent energy. This scene made everyone swallow their saliva. First, Chu Kuangren used his spiritual power to defeat a sage ruler, and now he used runes to kill the Grand Elder who was no weaker than a sage ruler. This kind of strength was too terrifying for them. Even a top-notch sage ruler might not have this kind of strength. Could he be a boundary emperor? The crowd was secretly shocked. Let's go. The burly man looked at Chu Kuangren fearfully. He did not have the courage to fight him. He then led the rest of the people and left the Wu family. After everyone had left, the remaining Wu family members looked at Chu Kuangren. None of them dared to approach him. Even when he was playing with the Wu family's inherited emperor weapon, the green glaze magic lamp, no one dared to ask for it back. Chu Kuangren played with the green glaze magic lamp and said, I've helped you kill the traitor and defeated the enemy. Don't you have anything to say? He had just checked with the Eye of Revelation. The person he killed was the Wu family's Grand Elder, but that person had gone against the Wu family. It was obvious that he was a traitor. That was the reason why he killed him. It was not just because he threatened him. Upon hearing that, the Wu family's clan head hurriedly walked up to Chu Kuangren. Thank you, Brother Daoist, for your help. He spat out blood as he spoke. His aura was extremely weak, as if he could die at any time. The Wu family members were extremely worried when they saw him. Currently, the Wu family was plagued with internal and external threats. If the Wu family's clan head died, the Wu family would fall into a leaderless situation. By then, they would not be far from destruction. You can't even speak properly. Chu Kuangren shook his head and raised his hand to cast the spring breeze healing technique. A gentle breeze blew past, and a large amount of life force instantly surged into the Wu family's clan head's body, rapidly healing his body. The Wu family's clan head, who was on the verge of death, suddenly had a healthy glow on his face. He looked at Chu Kuangren in shock. What cultivation technique is this? It's none of your business. Now that I've helped the Wu family defeat the enemy and saved your life, I need you to do something for me. Chu Kuangren said calmly. He was not a person who casually showed kindness. Saving the Wu family was just to make use of this family to do something for him. Chapter 500. Brother, please let us know if you have any requests. The Wu family will do everything within our power to help. The Wu family's head was straightforward. He knew that compared to the other clans, Chu Kuangren's power was undoubtedly much more terrifying. The Wu family was not even worth mentioning in front of Chu Kuangren. If he wanted to destroy them, he could do so at any time. The disparity between the two sides was too great, so great that no one could muster the slightest thought of resistance. If that was the case, they might as well obey. Moreover, Chu Kuangren had just saved the Wu family and his life. The Wu family's head had a feeling that this might be a turning point for the Wu family. You're quite tactful. Chu Kuangren nodded slightly, satisfied with the Wu family's head's attitude. Let me ask you a few questions. Is this the Emperor's Road? The Wu family's head was a little shocked. He did not expect Chu Kuangren to ask such a question. However, he seemed to have thought of something and nodded solemnly. Yes. Are you people born and raised in the Emperor's Road, or are you outsiders? We were born in the Emperor's Road, so we can be considered as a local force. However, there are many powerful external forces in the Emperor's Road. The Wu family's head had already guessed Chu Kuangren's background, so he did not hide it. Very well. Finally, I want all the information about the Emperor's Road, including the forces here, which sky prides are there, and especially about the Emperor's throne. I understand. The Wu family's head nodded and then arranged a guest room for Chu Kuangren. From the beginning to the end, he did not mention that Chu Kuangren had taken the green glaze lamp. In the Wu family's main hall, the Wu family's head and a few elders were gathered together. Head, what should we do next? Let's listen to his orders and help him do his job. Head, what about the green glaze lamp? Do you think we can get it back if he doesn't give it to us? The Wu family's head rolled his eyes and said. Then, his eyes lit up and he said, plus, you must have heard the recent news. The Mountain of Emperors has changed and the throne has reappeared. This means that the Way of Emperors has been reconnected with the outside world. This man could be a heaven's favorite from the outside world who is here to compete for the throne. Moreover, you've all seen his strength. He can defeat saint rulers with ease. Even the most terrifying forbidden prodigies on the Emperor's Road are no match for him. Just how powerful is the orthodoxy that can raise such a prodigy? It is definitely many times better than our Wu family. The talents of the Wu family have withered these years, and we have no fate with the throne. If we can build a good relationship with this person, it will be beneficial to the Wu family. Furthermore, if this person can really ascend to the throne, we will have dealings with an emperor. Just this point is enough for the Wu family to benefit endlessly. The Wu family head's words made everyone sink into contemplation. Although the chances of him ascending the throne were slim, it was still a possibility. Besides, they had no other choice but to avoid becoming enemies with Chu Kuangren. We understand. After that, the few elders followed Chu Kuangren's instructions and went to prepare the information regarding the Emperor's path. Meanwhile, in the Wu family's guest room, Chu Kuangren retracted his spiritual thought. These people are quite smart. They didn't do anything behind my back. He needed an organization to prepare the information for him, so it would be best if the Wu family listened to him. The spatial structure of the Emperor's Road is different from the outside world. Looks like I'll need some time to get used to it. Chu Kuangren noticed that not only was his spiritual thought limited, but he could also not use the spatial conveyor technique well. This was because the spatial structure of the Emperor's Road was different from the outside world, so he needed to analyze it properly to get used to it. However, other than these two aspects, his combat strength was not affected, which was enough for him to deal with anything. Stone City, Zhang family's residence. The Zhang family head and a few other sage rulers who had just returned from the Wu family were gathered together. D****, someone like that suddenly appeared and messed up our plans. Now that we can't get our hands on the magic green glass lamp, who knows how that existence will punish us? The Zhang family head said with a hint of fear in his eyes when he mentioned that existence. We can't lose the magic green glass lamp, but that young man's strength is too strong. He can easily defeat a sage ruler. I think only that existence has a way to deal with someone like that. We can't handle him, so let's talk to him. The Qian family head said as he held his broken arm. He had exchanged a blow with Chu Kuangren, and that kind of power made his heart palpitate. I guess that's the only way. The Zhang family head then took out a transparent crystal. The crystal released a ray of light that intertwined in the void and formed a shadow. It was a blurry figure, and one could vaguely see that this person was wearing a luxurious golden robe. Although it was only a shadow, it still exuded a chilling aura. Greetings, Jian Daoist. The Zhang family head and the others quickly bowed. Has it been done? The being who had been addressed as Jian Daoist said indifferently. The few family heads looked at each other when they heard that, but no one dared to speak. Jian Daozi had already guessed what was going on when he saw that. He said angrily, "Tell me, what's going on?" Everything was going smoothly at first, but when we were about to get our hands on the magic green glass lamp, the Zhang family head told him everything. Jian Daozi was silent for a while before he snorted. "Trash. Please forgive me, Jian Daozi. I have something to do and can't leave. Tomorrow, I'll send my sword servants to complete this task. If the sword servants are willing to personally take action, then this matter will definitely be in the bag," the Zhang family head hurriedly flattered. "If something goes wrong again this time, your clans can forget about continuing to exist." Jian Daozi snorted before his figure disappeared. The Zhang family head and the others could not help but shiver when they heard what he said. With the help of the sword servants, there shouldn't be a problem. That's right. You don't have to worry too much. Inside the Wu family, Chu Kuangren was playing with the magic green glass lamp in his hand when he suddenly realized that the emperor weapon was broken. There was no wick in the magic green glass lamp. A broken emperor weapon isn't worth much to me. If the Wu family does a good job, I can consider returning it to them," Chu Kuangren murmured. At that moment, the Wu family head knocked on the door. Chu Kuangren kept the magic green glass lamp. "Come in." "Greetings, Brother Chu." "Oh, how's it going?" "This is the map of the Emperor's path, as well as the information about the sky prides and strong cultivators." The Wu family head took out a jade scroll. Chu Kuangren used his spiritual thought to read it and realized that some of the information matched with the information about the 9 heavens forces that the divine predictor had given him. He pondered. It seems like the ancient orthodoxies have been laying out their plans on the Emperor's path since a long time ago. This is interesting. Not only do I have to deal with the sky prides, but I also have to deal with the forces that the orthodoxies left behind in the Emperor's path. No wonder the divine predictor would give me information about the 9 heavens forces. Chapter 501. After asking about the Emperor's road's layout, Chu Kuangren then asked about the green glass magic lamp. The family head of the Wu family didn't hide anything and told them everything about the green glass magic lamp. The green glass magic lamp has been in the Wu family for a long time, so it's not a secret. However, this imperial weapon is in an incomplete state. Only by using the Wu family's secret method, which is to use the practitioner's essence blood to transform the lamp oil, can it be activated. Therefore, the other families don't care too much about this imperial weapon. But recently, for some reason, they suddenly set their eyes on the green glass magic lamp and even bribed the first elder of the Wu family. The family head of the Wu family also had some doubts. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, was deep in thought. A damaged monarch artifact would require one to pay the price of one's blood essence or even one's life in order to activate it. Naturally, he would not pay too much attention to it. However, if it was a complete monarch armament, it would be a different story. What if they were able to complete the green glaze magic lamp? Chu Kuangren suddenly had an idea. This would also explain why the Zhang clan, Qian clan, and the other clans were suddenly eyeing the green glass magic lamp. It was even possible that there was a mastermind behind them. Right, there's actually another rumor about the green glass magic lamp. It's said that this magic lamp is related to the Azure Profound Sword Emperor from hundreds of thousands of years ago. The Wu family suddenly recalled a rumor passed down from generation to generation. "Oh, you're even related to a sword emperor now," Chu Kuangren said with interest. "Yes, the owner of the green glass magic lamp, Empress Qingli, and the green profound sword emperor were Dao companions. However, the green profound sword emperor went into closed-door cultivation in the Emperor's Road and there was no news of him after that. Rumor has it that he failed in his closed-door cultivation and died. Only Empress Qingli has a way to find him, and this method is related to the green glass magic lamp. But these were just rumors a long time ago. They can't be taken seriously." The Wu family head shook his head and smiled. "Whether it's true or not, we'll know once we complete the green glass magic lamp." Initially, Chu Kuangren wanted to return the emperor weapon to the Wu clan. However, he decided against it now. An incomplete imperial armament would be useless to him, but a complete imperial armament might not be of any use to him. Not to mention, this involved the existence of a sword emperor. The next day, after a night's time, Chu Kuangren had almost sorted out all the information he had on the Emperor's path. The most important information was the Emperor Mountain at the end of the Emperor's Road. That was where the throne was located. Ever since the Emperor's Road had been closed, the Emperor Mountain had not had a new emperor for 150,000 years. Recently, an extremely powerful emperor's aura was emitted from the Emperor's Mountain. The entire Emperor's Mountain was enveloped by an unknown force and no one was allowed to get close. This strange change was the sign that Di Shan was about to have the throne. This caused all the living beings on the Emperor's Road to enter a frenzy. They were all preparing to fight for the throne. Di Shan's throne is the place to become an emperor. Also, other than the geniuses from the 9 heavens and hell, there are also the local geniuses from the ancient orthodoxies. TSK, the battle of the Emperor's Path has reached its most crucial moment. It's getting more and more interesting. Chu Kuangren held the hilt of the Descendant Self sword with one hand. I hope a few interesting fellows will show up. Otherwise, it'll be too boring to walk alone at the end of the Emperor's Road. The Kuan Wu sword seemed to have sensed its master's mood and trembled. At that moment, all the practitioners of the Wus shuddered unconsciously, and then looked around in bewilderment. Wu's family head, come out. At that moment, a roar suddenly rang out above the Wu's residence. Following that, an awe-inspiring sword-based Daoist rhyme swept out and covered the entire Wu's residence. That was the power of a sage ruler. Moreover, it was a top-notch sage ruler. Chu Kuangren, who was in his room, looked out the window. Oh, they're quite fast. He was not surprised. There was something fishy about the few great clans trying to snatch the magic green glaze lamp. It was very likely that someone was behind it. If the great clans failed and the mastermind was not willing to give up, he would definitely send more people over. In the sky above the Wu's residence, other than the Zhang's family head, the Qian's family head, and a few other sage rulers, there were also a few extremely cold swordsmen. It was worth mentioning that each of these swordsmen was wearing different colored clothes. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. When the Wu's family head and the others saw these swordsmen, their faces instantly turned pale. It's them. It's them. How can this be? How can our Wus be targeted by such existences? The Wu's family head and the others' faces were ashen. On the Emperor's path, these swordsmen were not the most powerful, but they represented one of the most terrifying forces on the Emperor's path. The swordsmen. How did our Wus encounter the swordsmen? An elder said in horror. No one could answer him. They were also full of doubts. The Wu's family head took a deep breath. He had long guessed that there was a mastermind behind the Zhangs, but he did not expect it to be the swordsmen. The 7-colored swordsmen are the highest grade of swordsmen in the swordsmen. In the swordsmen, only the Daoists of the swordsmen receive such treatment. I can't believe that it's not only the swordsmen who are targeting the Wus, but it's also one of the few people with the highest status in the swordsmen, the legendary Forbidden Sky Pride, Jian Daozi. The Wu's family head said as he suppressed the fear in his heart and slowly walked out. No matter what, they had to face this calamity eventually. The Wu's family head greets the lords of the swordsmen. May I know what brings you here? Hand over the green glaze lamp, or the Wus will be annihilated. The crimson-robed swordsman said. With the word annihilate, a chilling sword-based Daoist rhyme swept across the entire Wu's residence. All the Wu's cultivators who felt this Daoist rhyme could not help but feel their scalp tingle, and the weaker ones trembled as they knelt on the ground. The green glaze lamp, as expected, it's not the Zhangs or Qians who want the green glaze lamp, it's the swordsmen. But why do they want the lamp? Is it because of the Azure Mystic Sword Emperor's legend? The Wu's family head pondered, feeling helpless. If he knew that he was up against a monster like the swordsman, he would have handed over the green glaze lamp. The swordsman did not want to deal with the Wus, which was why they sent the Zhangs and Qians to do it. They did not expect Chu Kuangren to appear, so the swordsman had no choice but to send the 7-colored swordsman. However, the green glazed lamp was not in the Wu's family head's hands. What, are you going to disobey? Seeing that the Wu's family head did not speak, the crimson-robed swordsman's face darkened. Lord Swordsman, the green glazed lamp is not with us now, the Wu's family head said. Then where is it? It's with me. Without waiting for the Wu's family head to answer, a white-robed figure slowly walked out. Dressed in a spotless white robe, with a beautiful ancient sword hanging on his waist, the figure was unaffected by the crimson-robed swordsman's sword-based Daoist rhyme as if he was taking a leisurely stroll. The crimson-robed swordsman's gaze froze when they saw that. Their instincts told them that Chu Kuangren was an expert. Chapter 502. Chu Kuangren sized up the swordsman in front of him with great interest. All of you are dressed in fancy clothes. If I didn't know better, I would think that you guys are the Rainbow Battle Squad. Rainbow Battle Squad? What did that mean? The Rainbow Sword servants were puzzled. However, they soon forgot about it and focused their attention on Chu Kuangren in front of them. The Crimson Sword servant said, "Looks like you're the mysterious person that the Zhang family was talking about. The pillar of light that descended from the sky. If I'm not mistaken, you must be a sky pride from the outside world." The Crimson Sword servant was knowledgeable enough to guess Chu Kuangren's background. Not bad. Many sky prides from the outer realms have come to compete for the throne. I wonder which orthodoxy you're from. None of your business. I see a sword hanging on your waist, so you must be a swordsman. Among the 9 heavens orthodoxies, the solitary family is the most famous for using swords. Are you from the solitary family? Wrong guess. Not from the solitary family? The Crimson Sword servant frowned and stopped thinking about it. No matter what, he had to get his hands on the sacred green glazed lamp. He then pulled out the crimson sword from his waist and said, "I don't care which orthodoxy you're from. Hand over the sacred green glazed lamp or die. Come and try." Chu Kuangren beckoned with his finger. "Then let me have a taste of your skills." The Crimson Sword servant's eyes turned cold and he immediately attacked. With a slash of his sword, a crimson sword ray wrapped in raging flames surged out. That was one of the swordsman's ultimate techniques, the Crimson Flame Sword Art. It was an emperor technique that only a few sky prides and sages of the swordsman could cultivate. Heaven's Sorrow Palm. As Chu Kuangren raised his hand, a wave of sorrowful intent spread out. With a slap, a terrifying surge of energy swept out and easily destroyed the flaming sword chi. The dispersed energy landed on the body of the Scarlet Sword servant, causing his expression to change drastically. He used his sword to block the attack, but the powerful energy was something that even a 7-step Saint King like him could not withstand. He was directly sent flying hundreds of meters away by the energy and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Such power, manipulating the 7 emotions. Are you a member of the 7 Emotions sect? The 7 Emotions sect was a mysterious orthodoxy above the 9 heavens. They also had their own arrangements in the Emperor's Road. Their most well-known ability was to manipulate emotions. Oh, guess again. Chu Kuangren chuckled and lifted his arm again. A majestic Buddhist light manifested and formed into an ancient Buddha that was 10,000 feet tall. Sounds of Sanskrit chants filled the air. The ancient Buddha's face was solemn as he slowly struck out with his palm. Not good. How is this possible? The expressions of the remaining 6 sword servants changed drastically. They quickly made their move and arrived before the Crimson Sword servant. 6 long swords slashed out rapidly, interweaving into a huge sword net. There was a loud explosion. Sword chi and Buddhist light intertwined to form a gale that swept out, destroying the surrounding buildings one by one. The Wu family's master and the others quickly retreated. The sword net formed by the 6 types of sword chi was forcefully torn apart by the ancient Buddha's hand. When the palm landed on the bodies of the 6 sword servants, even though each of them had only received a portion of the force, they were still sent flying back with pale faces and coughing up blood. Buddhist light, are you from the Putua temple? One of the sword servants said in horror. Chu Kuangren's strength was just too terrifying. It only took 2 moves for the 7-color sword servant to be severely injured by Chu Kuangren. Putua temple? Do I look like a vegetarian to you? Chu Kuangren said with a faint smile. If you're not from the Solitary Clan, 7 Emotions sect, or the Putua temple, then which orthodoxy are you from? The Crimson Sword servant said in disbelief. It was terrifying for a person to possess several different emperor techniques and to be able to use each of them to perfection. What terrifying strength! This person must be a forbidden sky pride. The Yellow Sword servant could not help but say in shock. We're no match for him. Leave. Seeing that the situation was hopeless, the few sword servants immediately wanted to leave. They then joined forces to unleash a sword chi. 7 sword chi intertwined in the void and formed into a colorful sword chi torrent. 7 different sword-based Daoist rhymes erupted with terrifying power. That attack was comparable to a boundary emperor's. However, Chu Kuangren remained calm. He gently raised his hand, and lines of mysterious runes intertwined in front of him, forming a runic barrier. The sword chi landed on the runic barrier and exploded. The Wu clan's ground suddenly caved in, forming a huge crater. Chu Kuangren stood in the middle of the crater, surrounded by runes. He was unharmed. Runic power. Could it be those people from the runic lands? The Crimson Sword servant could not help but murmur in shock. The young man in front of them was too mysterious. He had so many tricks up his sleeves that it was impossible to fathom him. Luckily, we managed to escape. The Yellow Sword servant thought to himself. They did not escape in the same direction but in 7 different directions. Even a boundary emperor would not be able to stop all of them. You're too naive to think that you can escape just like that. Chu Kuangren seemed to have sensed the sword servant's thoughts, and a playful smile appeared on his face. An incredibly mysterious sword-based Daoist rhyme erupted from his body. Subsequently, sword chi shot into the sky and transformed into 12 pillars of sword chi that pierced through the heavens and the earth. It was one of the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart's transformations, the 9 heaven sword prison. The sword servants also sensed this anomaly, and their expressions changed drastically. The 9 heaven sword prison. It's the 9 heaven sword prison. He has the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart just like the Daoist. How's this possible? The exquisite 9 orifices sword heart was a supreme Daoist physique, and there were not many who had it since ancient times. However, in this era, 2 of them had appeared at the same time. The rainbow sword servants were extremely shocked. Hundreds of millions of miles away, on a mountain peak that looked like a divine sword, a young man suddenly opened his eyes. Purple sword chi flashed through his eyes, and a sharp aura filled the air. The exquisite 9 orifices sword heart. I can't believe another exquisite 9 orifices sword heart has appeared. Who is it that has the same supreme Daoist physique as me? A cold murderous intent shot out from the young man's eyes. Only one exquisite 9 orifices sword heart was enough in this world. Similarly, only one person could stand at the pinnacle of swordsmanship. That direction is, the Stone City? Could it be that the rainbow sword servants have gone to deal with it? The young man murmured. Meanwhile, in the Wu family's residence, the rainbow sword servants were shocked to see Chu Kuangren use the 9 heaven sword prison. They were even more shocked than when Chu Kuangren used a few emperor techniques. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren had also heard the shocked words of these sword servants. Oh, the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart. There's another exquisite 9 orifices sword heart in this emperor's path? What a coincidence. Chu Kuangren chuckled. The 12 sword chi pillars sealed the heavens and the earth, and the terrifying sword chi intertwined to form a prison. The rainbow sword servants had no way of escaping. Alright, I'm done playing with you guys. It's time to end this game. Game? Everyone could not help but feel goosebumps when they heard Chu Kuangren's words. Each of the rainbow sword servants was a top-tier sage ruler. However, to Chu Kuangren, battling with such people was just a game to kill time. Chapter 503. It's time to put an end to this game, Chu Kuangren said. Then, he raised his hand and gathered a sword chi. When the sword chi was unleashed, the razor-sharp purple sword ray almost tore the void apart. The seven-colored sword servant's eyes widened upon seeing this. What a powerful sword chi! It's unstoppable. He didn't even use his full strength just now. He's been toying with us all along, just like a game. The sword ray came and landed on the rainbow sword servant's body in the blink of an eye. 7 clouds of blood mist exploded in the air. The rainbow sword servant had fallen. Chu Kuangren then looked at the Zhang family's head and the others who came with the rainbow sword servant. His gaze was calm as if he was looking at a few ants. The Zhang family's head and the others' faces turned pale. Please spare us. We won't do it again. The swordsman forced us to do this. Chu Kuangren did not say a word. He raised his hand and gathered a few runes that turned into rings that bound them. It was a very advanced runic sealing technique. Once one was bound by it, unless one was stronger than Chu Kuangren, it would be very difficult for one to break free. I'll leave these people to you. As for me, it's time for me to leave. Since the swordsmen are after the green glaze lamp, you can spread the news that I've stolen it. I believe they won't make things difficult for you. After all, the orthodoxies have their own pride. Chu Kuangren said. The Wu family looked at each other. Thank you, Brother Chu, the Wu family's head said. You're welcome. I've taken your emperor weapon anyway, so it's not a loss for me. He and Jian Daozi of the swordsmen both had the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart. Judging from the way they sent people to kill and steal their treasures, they would not let their exquisite 9 orifices sword heart off easily. Coupled with the battle of the emperor's realm, the two of them were bound to fight. If that was the case, Chu Kuangren did not mind being hunted down. He could even trade it for an emperor weapon. He had made a killing. Chu Kuangren felt that he was quite suitable for business. The Wu family's head and the others smiled bitterly, feeling that they could not refute him. The green glass magic lamp was already a disaster in their hands, so they could only hand it over to Chu Kuangren. In that case, take care, fellow Daoist Chu. See you later. Chu Kuangren looked towards the end of the Emperor's road before he took a step forward and instantly disappeared from everyone's sight. Patriarch, what should we do with these people? One of the Wu family's elders looked at the Zhang family's head and said. These people were bound by Chu Kuangren's sword chi and could not resist at all. They were lying on the ground like mortals. When they heard the Wu family's elders' words, they immediately looked at the Wu family's head and begged for mercy without caring about their pride. The family head of the Wu family glanced at the few people on the ground and said coldly, these people know about our relationship with Taoist Chu. If they tell others that we are friends with Taoist Chu, the sword tribe will not let us off easily. So, kill them. Okay. The Wu family elder did not hesitate and killed these people on the spot. Please respond if you receive this message. Please respond if you receive this message. Along the way, Chu Kuangren kept contacting the Black Heaven Sect's Daoists using his communication compass. However, there was no response. There were only 2 possibilities. Either the distance was too far, or the communication was blocked by some kind of power. It was just like how Chu Kuangren could not connect to the Black Heaven Sect on the Emperor's Road because the two were in different dimensions. 2 days later. Congratulations, host. You've drawn the legendary Emperor technique, Slave Seal. Chu Kuangren obtained an Emperor technique from the gacha roll in a mountain range. Initially, he did not care what Emperor technique he got. After all, he had a lot of them. Over the past year, he had managed to draw a few different types of cards. However, the Emperor technique he got this time was slightly different. It was an Emperor technique that specifically targeted the soul. The soul had always been one of the most mysterious areas in the world of cultivation. Even emperors would rarely get involved in it. However, he got an emperor technique that was related to the soul. This could be said to be very rare. The name of the Imperial Soul Slave Seal sounded rather sinister, and its effects were even more sinister. This emperor technique was used to control people. Once a slave seal was planted in a cultivator's soul, that cultivator's life or death would be in Chu Kuangren's hands. Furthermore, the slave imprint would even subtly alter the mind of the target, causing them to gradually become obedient to the caster. No wonder it's called a slave seal. Cultivators who are planted with a slave seal are no different from slaves. Chu Kuangren said in amazement. He then retrieved the emperor technique. At that moment, a low growl came from not far away. A beast suddenly pounced towards him. That beast's strength was only equivalent to an honorable, so it posed no threat to him. With a thought, an invisible surge of mind power surged out and pressed the beast to the ground. Perfect, I'll use you to test out this slave seal. Chu Kuangren smirked. Meanwhile, the wolf-like beast opposite him let out an uneasy growl. It looked at Chu Kuangren with ferocity and fear in its eyes. Slave seal, form. Chu Kuangren focused his sword fingers and a surge of spiritual power gushed out from his fingertips and landed on the beast's head. That surge of spiritual power was extremely mysterious. It penetrated deep into the beast's mind and pierced into its soul, finally forming a golden word, slave. Not long after, the ferocity in that beast's eyes gradually faded. It crawled in front of Chu Kuangren and licked his shoes, as obedient as a pug. The effect of this slave seal is more powerful than I thought. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. If this imperial soul slave seal was used well, it would definitely be of great use to him in the future. Just when Chu Kuangren was surprised by the power of the slave seal, the communication compass in his arms vibrated. Someone's contacting me? Chu Kuangren channeled his spiritual power into the compass, and a voice came from it. Sect leader, can you hear me? It was Shang Qingshue's voice. I can hear you, Qingxue. Where are you now? Sect leader, I don't know either. I'm surrounded by white snow. I think I'm at the bottom of a lake? Think? Yes, I think I'm trapped in a strange space. Above me is a lake. Other than that, are there any other characteristics? Frost elemental fluctuations. I'm surrounded by a very strong frost elemental fluctuation. It's so cold. Cold? Chu Kuangren could not help but frown. Shang Qingshuo had the frost physique. To be able to make her feel cold, it must be an extremely strong frost chi. Qingshuo, don't act rashly. Protect yourself. I'll come to you as soon as possible. Keep in touch. All right. After ending the call, Chu Kuangren fell into deep thought. Frost elemental fluctuations at the bottom of the lake. What kind of place would that be? Let's find a place to check if there are any clues. Then, Chu Kuangren scanned the area with his spiritual thought and locked onto a city tens of thousands of kilometers away. Chapter 504. In one of the cities, a white-robed young man's face was shrouded in spiritual light, making it hard to see his face clearly. However, the small outline that was revealed was enough to stun many people. Many cultivators secretly looked at him with curiosity in their eyes, and some even tried to use their spiritual thoughts to probe his cultivation level. However, before they could figure out what was going on, they felt their spiritual thoughts being bounced back by an extremely powerful force, and they dared not probe him anymore. That white-robed young man was none other than Chu Kuangren. He slowly walked to a restaurant, found a random seat, and called the waiter over for a pot of wine. Many people in the restaurant were discussing the happenings in the Emperor's path. Especially the unusual changes in the Emperor's mountain, which made everyone very excited. Everyone was discussing who had the highest chance of winning the Emperor's throne. I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but there has been some abnormalities in the Seraphic Lake mountain recently. A large amount of Seraphic Lake energy has been released, and I heard that a rare treasure has appeared. Suddenly, a cultivator said. Everyone's interest was piqued at that. The Seraphic Lake Mountain? That place that's so cold that it can scare people to death? Pfft, that's because your cultivation level is too low to feel cold. I wonder how many people have their eyes on the Seraphic Lake energy. This time, the unusual changes in the Seraphic Lake Mountain have caused many orthodoxies to send their people to harvest the Seraphic Lake's energy. Even a few ancient orthodoxies have been mobilized. I heard that many Seraphic Lake ice crystals have appeared this time. Seraphic Lake ice crystals are rumored to be used to slow down the speed of a cultivator's aging, purify spiritual power, and contain a rich cold-based Daoist rhyme. Not far away, Chu Kuangren's heart skipped a beat as he listened to the conversations of the customers. Could the Seraphic Lake and the cold-based fluctuations be where Xianxia is? Chu Kuangren thought to himself. It seemed that he had to pay a visit to the Seraphic Lake. After ordering a pot of wine from the innkeeper, Chu Kuangren did not linger in the restaurant for long and left immediately. Seraphic Lake Mountain. The Seraphic Lake Mountain was covered in snow all year round, but at its peak, there was a very strange lake. The lake's water was so cold that even an honorable cultivator would not be able to withstand it. There was a risk of being frozen if they stepped into it. However, the lake was not frozen. Instead, the lake water was like a mirror, reflecting the sky on the surface of the lake. Therefore, it was known as the Heavenly Lake. Apart from that, the water in the Heavenly Lake also contained some sort of energy that could increase one's spiritual power. At a certain time, the energy of the Heavenly Lake would escape from the Heavenly Lake and form a tide. For most cultivators, this was definitely a great fortune. In recent days, the Heavenly Pond's energy erupted, the scale of the tide surging far greater than any other time in the past. Some almighty beings deduced that some peerless treasure must have been nurtured in this heaven lake. This conjecture made many cultivators excited. For a time, countless cultivators came to the Heavenly Lake in search of treasures. However, before those cultivators could find any treasures, the nearby ancient orthodoxies had joined forces to seal up the celestial lake. Thus, some cultivators without any background were able to pick up some items that others did not want. Although the actions of these orthodoxies made many cultivators unhappy, no one dared to stand up and criticize them. After all, the other party was an ancient orthodoxy. What ability did they, the rogue cultivators without any organization, have to say anything? It would be good enough if the others could just pick up some leftovers for them. Outside of Tianqi Mountain, several cultivators from the ancient orthodoxies had gathered. They worked together to seal off the entrance to the mountain. Only those with decent cultivation such as Venerable Ones and Saint Realm existences were able to enter and explore. However, they were still unable to enter the core area. Chu Kuangren arrived. Looking at the cultivators who had sealed up the celestial lake mountain, Chu Kuangren took the initiative to reveal his sage cultivation level and released his domineering aura. The few cultivators who were guarding the mountain could not help but shiver. They had seen their fair share of sages, but Chu Kuangren was the first one who could send chills down their spines with just his aura alone. The person in front of them was not just any ordinary sage. You may enter now. However, I must remind you that the core area of the celestial lake is sealed up by the Sima clan, the Snow Spider clan, the Snow Lion clan, and a few other ancient orthodoxies. You are not allowed to enter. The disciple who was guarding the mountain said sternly. Chu Kuangren chuckled. All right. Go in then. The disciple no longer stopped Chu Kuangren and allowed him to enter the celestial lake mountain. Amidst the white snow, Chu Kuangren's figure gradually disappeared. The disciple who was guarding the mountain suddenly felt a sense of unease. Then, he shook his head and smiled. He's just a sage. What's there to be uneasy about? They were all ancient orthodoxies. What kind of trouble could a sage cause in front of them? Inside the celestial lake mountain, Chu Kuangren walked on the snow as his spiritual thoughts surged and covered a radius of 10,000 kilometers. Most of the scenery of the celestial lake mountain came into view. At that moment, a cloud of white mist swept towards him amidst the swirling snow. Behind it was a white-robed lady. That lady had a seductive appearance. She looked at the white mist with a fiery gaze. Chu Kuangren activated his Eye of Revelation. Spider 18, a snow spider with an honorable supreme cultivation level. After taking a glance at the snow spider lady, Chu Kuangren ignored her and shifted his attention to the white mist that she was chasing. Is this the celestial lake's energy? As Chu Kuangren lifted his arm, a formless mind power spread and formed into a giant invisible hand that grabbed her. Who are you? How dare you take something that belongs to me? The snow spider lady's expression changed when she saw that, and she growled at Chu Kuangren. However, Chu Kuangren did not even look at her. He lifted his arm again and activated his mind power, sending the snow spider lady flying away. She fell headfirst into the snow like a headless spring onion. After that, Chu Kuangren carefully examined the celestial lake's energy in his hand. It does contain some kind of pure energy fluctuation, and there's even a cold-based Daoist rhyme. Chu Kuangren activated his universal cauldron physique and absorbed the celestial lake's energy into his body to refine it. The spiritual power increase that the celestial lake's energy gave him was comparable to refining an honorable supreme's flesh and blood essence with the gluttonous devouring technique. It was no wonder that this item was so popular. Through his spiritual thoughts, he could sense that there was a lot of celestial lake's energy around him. Especially at the core of the celestial lake, there was an uncountable amount of celestial lake's energy. There were even celestial lake ice crystals that were of a higher grade than the celestial lake's energy. However, those were not Chu Kuangren's main purpose for coming here. I wonder if Shang Qingxue is in there. Chu Kuangren murmured as he looked at the core of the celestial lake. His spiritual thoughts could not penetrate into the depths of the celestial lake's core. There was a barrier there that blocked his senses. Chu Kuangren then walked towards the depths of the celestial lake. As for the white-haired lady, she was still stuck in the snow, motionless like a statue. Only when Chu Kuangren was far away did she struggle to climb out of the snow. She looked at Chu Kuangren's departing figure and said with lingering fear, "What a terrifying guy." Chapter 505. In the depths of the Heaven Pond Mountain. As smooth as a mirror, the water of the Heaven Pond reflected the scenery of the sky. The water of the Heaven Pond was boiling with cold air. Occasionally, white energy would spread outwards. In the middle of the Heaven Pond, a giant snow lotus stood against the wind and snow. Every petal had a mysterious Daoist rhyme. There was a white-robed woman sitting on top of this snow lotus. The lady looked around blankly, as if she was unaware of her current situation. What is this? The woman suddenly sensed that there was a white mist coming out of the snow lotus and entering her body. This fog actually caused her to feel a wave of coldness. What a terrifying chill. This snow lotus is definitely a treasure. But what's going on? The lady wanted to leave the snow lotus, but a few silhouettes slowly walked over. These people were ecstatic when they saw the snow lotus. Iceheart's snow lotus. The rumors were true. There really is such a treasure like the Iceheart snow lotus. The few people rushed to the edge of the Heaven Pond. But when they saw the lady on the snow lotus, their faces darkened. Who is she? Why is she on the snow lotus? Damn it. Did someone get to it before us? The few people's faces darkened. One of the cold-looking lady couldn't hold it in anymore. She raised her hand and activated her spiritual energy. A snow-white spider silk mixed with spiritual energy flew out. This spider silk contained a strong power. The lady on the snow lotus wanted to defend herself. But before she could do anything, the snow lotus under her feet moved slightly. The cold air around the Heaven Pond surged and formed an ice wall, blocking the spider silk. The lady was shocked. This snow lotus is protecting me? Thinking about this, she was in no hurry to leave. The few people on the lakeside did not look like good people. If she went up, they might do something to her. Damn it. Why is the Iceheart snow lotus protecting this lady? Who is this person? On the lakeside, the few people's faces darkened. Rumor has it that the Ice Heart Snow Lotus is a spiritual object. It will choose its owner. It seems like the rumor is true. A muscular man said. This person was a prodigy of the white fur snow lion race. At this moment, he was staring at the Ice Heart Snow Lotus with fiery eyes. However, when he looked at the woman on top of it, his face darkened. Look, the energy of the Ice Heart Snow Lotus is continuously merging with that woman. If this continues, we won't have a share of this fortune. I have to think of a way to interrupt this process. Attack. In an instant, the few sky prides who were present struck. All sorts of powerful energies were unleashed, and each of them was at the level of a holy king. However, the snow lotus swayed, and the cold air of the heavenly lake gathered around it, forming a wall of cold air and ice, isolating all the energy outside. How majestic was the cold air in this heavenly lake. It was not something that these geniuses could easily break through. Seeing that she was temporarily safe, the woman on the snow lotus began to examine her own situation. She discovered that after the white mist from the snow lotus entered her body, it was actually slowly transforming her body. Moreover, this transformation was beneficial. Could it be that this snow lotus can raise my frost Daoist physique to another level? The frost Daoist physique. This woman was Xianxia, whom Chu Kuangren was looking for. Thinking that her Daoist physique could be upgraded to another level, Xianxia could not help but be overjoyed. She sat cross-legged on the snow lotus and actively absorbed the energy that was escaping from it. D***mn, woman, get out of the Ice Heart Snow Lotus now. The sky prides at the edge of the heavenly lake could not help but roar. However, Xianxia was not stupid. She knew that nothing good would come out of it if she went down now, so she ignored them. Miss, this Ice Heart Snow Lotus is very important to us. Please leave, we promise that we won't hurt you. We'll even give you precious treasures. If you don't leave, even if you can refine this Ice Heart Snow Lotus, you won't be able to escape from the attacks of our orthodoxies. At this moment, a gentle-looking sky pride said. He was both tempting and threatening. Compared to the previous sky pride who only knew how to talk tough, he was much smarter. However, Xianxia still acted like she did not hear him. Then don't blame us. That gentle-looking man could no longer pretend and said with a fierce expression, everyone, continue attacking. I don't believe that we can't break through this snow lotus defense. Outside the heavenly lake, there was a barrier set up by a few orthodoxies. This barrier was extremely strong. Even a sage would find it hard to break through. Outside the barrier, some of the sages looked in the direction of the heavenly lake helplessly. This Gu clan, Sima clan, Snow Spider clan, and Snow Lion clan are too overbearing. This heavenly lake doesn't even belong to them, yet they've taken over this place. They're eating the lion's share while giving us some soup that they don't want. This is too much, a sage said angrily. What can we do? They're the ones with the bigger fists, another sage said helplessly. This time, there's a disturbance in the heavenly lake. It's obvious that a treasure has appeared. The most legendary treasure in the Tianqi mountain is the Ice Heart Snow Lotus. It is said that this treasure needs at least 100,000 years to grow, and it has the power of heaven's creation. It is said that in history, there was a great emperor who was originally average, but after he obtained the Ice Heart Snow Lotus, his body was transformed, and it played a key role in his ascension to the throne. The sages discussed, yearning for the treasure in the heavenly lake. However, they dared not cross the boundary because of the few ancient orthodoxies. Look, someone's coming. At that moment, someone suddenly looked into the distance and said in surprise. It was just that the person who came was too extraordinary. That person was dressed in white and had black hair. His face was covered with a faint layer of spiritual light, so his face could not be seen clearly. However, one could vaguely tell that he was an extraordinary person. His white clothes were spotless, and his temperament was extraordinary. It was as if he had become one with the snow-white world. That person faced the snowy wind and slowly walked to the wall outside the heavenly lake. What's he trying to do? Could he be from one of those orthodoxies? No, if he's from the other orthodoxies, he can just go in. Why would he stop? The crowd began to whisper to each other, watching the scene with great interest. That person was Chu Kuangren. He looked at the wall in front of him and slowly reached out to touch it. All of a sudden, crackling electric arcs exploded in the void and swept towards Chu Kuangren. Those electric arcs were so powerful that even an ordinary sage would not be able to withstand it. However, Chu Kuangren allowed those electric arcs to hit his body. They were numb and could not cause any damage to his supreme sage body. The surrounding sages were speechless at that. That physical body is a little too insane. Then, Chu Kuangren did something that shocked them even more. He grabbed the wall with both his hands and tore it apart, allowing the terrifying electric arcs to wreak havoc on his body. With a loud boom, Chu Kuangren used his bare hands and physical body to tear a huge hole in the barrier that the ancient orthodoxies had set up. Chapter 506. Tiny electric arcs swam in the void and continuously bombarded Chu Kuangren's body. However, these attacks were of no use to him at all. These attacks were like tickles to his supreme sage body. Just like that, Chu Kuangren forcefully tore a huge hole in the barrier with his bare hands. The moment the barrier was destroyed, the strong cultivators from the ancient orthodoxies sensed something. Someone has destroyed the barrier. Who is it? D***it, who dares to go against us? The strong cultivator from the ancient orthodoxy who was closest to the barrier rushed towards it. Not long after, that person arrived at the barrier. When he saw Chu Kuangren, a cold glint flashed across his eyes. You're the one who destroyed the barrier that we've set up. Do you know that your actions are no different from declaring war against the great orthodoxies? This person was tall and had a circle of white fur around his neck. His eyes were pale yellow like those of a beast. Chu Kuangren activated his Eye of Revelation. Bai Lei, a snow lion, boundary emperor, Bai Lei's information appeared in Chu Kuangren's eyes. Although his opponent was also a boundary emperor, he was one of the weakest boundary emperors. He posed no threat to Chu Kuangren at all. However, he was still a boundary emperor. His aura was still very terrifying to the sages who were watching from the outside. This is bad. This guy has offended a boundary emperor. TSK, this guy looks very powerful, but he's only one person. Offending an ancient orthodoxy won't end well for him. Maybe this guy has some kind of powerful background? The sages discussed among themselves, waiting to see how things would develop next. Chu Kuangren looked at Bai Lei and said, I'm here to look for someone. I have no intention of becoming your enemy. Humph, I don't care who you're looking for. To barge into the spirit formation barrier set up by our orthodoxies without permission is equivalent to declaring war on us. If that's the case, you can treat it as a declaration of war. Chu Kuangren curled his lips and did not explain further. You're asking for it. The Snow Lion tribe was a hot-tempered person. When they saw Chu Kuangren's attitude, they immediately attacked Chu Kuangren. With a punch, the surrounding snowstorm gathered and turned into a roaring lion's shadow that charged towards Chu Kuangren. Little kitty, be good and go to the side. Chu Kuangren lifted his hand and pointed a finger at the void. In an instant, a surging finger force exploded. It was the monarch technique, heart-piercing finger. Heart-piercing finger, strike at the heart of the Tao. Bai Lei's mind was instantly affected, and the lion phantom formed by the wind and snow was instantly shattered, turning into mist that filled the sky. As for Bai Lei himself, he was sent flying hundreds of feet away by the powerful strength qi. Lying on the ground, his aura instantly weakened. He had defeated a quasi-emperor in one move. Chu Kuangren's combat strength instantly shocked all the sages outside. F***ck, who is this? What a terrifying battle strength. Where did this person come from? Judging from his appearance, he should be a heaven's chosen of the younger generation. How could he have such a battle strength? The expression of Bai Lei, who was sent flying, was also somewhat terrified. One move, he was defeated in one move. In front of Chu Kuangren, he was no different from a kitten. After defeating Bai Lei, Chu Kuangren did not care whether his opponent lived or died. Instead, he walked straight towards the heavenly lake. Upon entering the enchanted boundary, Chu Kuangren released his spiritual thoughts and finally confirmed that Shang Qingxue was at the heavenly lake. However, she seemed to be in a rather delicate situation. Inside the heavenly lake, Shang Qingxue was still sitting in the icy lotus, and the changes that the icy lotus had done to her were becoming more and more obvious. More and more people were gathering at the edge of the heavenly lake. Aside from the few sky prides who came earlier, another group of people had arrived. Most of these sky prides were from the Sima family, Gu family, Snow Spider clan, and Snow Lion clan, the four ancient orthodoxies. However, there was one person who was rather special. That person was dressed in a long black robe and had a cold aura around him. He was just one person, but he represented an entire camp. Although he was alone, the other sky prides did not dare to be careless when facing him. That was because this person represented an ancient orthodoxy. Moreover, this person was also one of the top sky prides in that ancient orthodoxy. Wang Tianteng, one of the sky prides from the outside world. He's also a sky pride from the Wang family. This person's strength should not be underestimated. The sky prides from the ancient orthodoxies looked at Wang Tianteng with a solemn expression. In fact, the ancient orthodoxies' Gu family was also a vassal of the Wang family, which was why Wang Tianteng was here. Oh, Wang Tianteng? It's you. At that moment, Shang Qingxue, who was in the icy lotus, also noticed Wang Tianteng and could not help but be slightly surprised. Oh, you know me? In the past, you were ranked 4th on the Soaring Dragon leaderboard by Tian Jizi. Shang Qingxue said. Back then, the Soaring Dragon leaderboard was quite famous in the Firmament Star, so she naturally paid attention to it. Looks like you're a sky pride from the Firmament Star. Wang Tianteng did not care much. It was not surprising that someone from the Firmament Star had entered the Emperor's Road. That's right, my name is Shang Qingxue, and I'm from the Black Heaven sect. Shang Qingxue smiled faintly. After hearing the 3 words Black Heaven sect, Wang Tianteng's pupils shrank. He looked around in panic as if he was afraid of something. Seeing his expression, the sky prides from the ancient orthodoxies were quite surprised. What was it that made Wang Tianteng look like that? After all, he was a top-notch sky pride that was only second to the forbidden sky prides. Where's Chu Kuangren? Did he come to the heavenly lake too? Wang Tianteng asked. Why don't you take a guess? Shang Qingxue smiled faintly. He's just bluffing. Wang Tianteng snorted and gradually calmed down. He recalled that when one entered the Emperor's Road, the sky prides from the outside world would be teleported away. It seemed that Shang Qingxue had been separated from Chu Kuangren. As long as Chu Kuangren isn't here, what do I have to fear? This snow lotus is mine now. Wang Tianteng sneered. He wanted to break the ice wall around the Ice Heart snow lotus and take it for himself. If you want to take the snow lotus, you'll have to ask for my permission first. At that moment, a cold voice was heard. A white-robed figure suddenly flew over, and a surge of Sage's aura suddenly filled the air. The person who came was a woman. She was dressed in clothes as white as snow and had an incomparably beautiful face. It's the Spider Princess. It's great that the Spider Princess is here. The Spider Princess was the strongest sky pride of the Snow Spider clan. She was a top-notch sky pride that was no weaker than Wang Tianteng. The Snow Lion clan doesn't want to give up on this snow lotus so easily. Another person walked over. It was a burly man with a majestic gait and a domineering aura. It looks like it won't be easy for the Sima clan to obtain this snow lotus. A snow-white sword ray flew over and revealed a white-robed young swordsman with a cold sword chi emanating from his body. It's Bai Shixin of the Snow Lion clan, the strongest sky pride of this generation. It's not just the Snow Lion clan. Sima Ren of the Sima clan is here too. He's one of the few sword Dao sky prides who are only second to Jian Daozi among the younger generation of the Emperor's Road. It's getting more and more lively. The strongest sky prides of the three great ancient orthodoxies are here. However, the Gu clan doesn't seem to have any sky prides who can go against these three. They're just vassals of the Wang clan. It looks like Wang Tianting will be competing with these three for the Snow Lotus. At the shore of the Heavenly Lake, the crowd could not help but look forward to seeing the top sky prides of this generation. Chapter 507. Why? Do you want to fight with the Wang clan? Wang Tianting looked at the strongest sky prides from the ancient orthodoxies. Although the Wang clan is powerful, don't forget that this is the Emperor's Road. Most of the Wang clan's power is in the 9 heavens. Moreover, no one cares who you are in the Emperor's Road. Anyway, this ice heart lotus is mine, Bai Shixin sneered. The Spider Princess and Sima Ren also looked at Wang Tianting coldly. Let's see what kind of trash the top sky prides in the Emperor's Road are. As the top sky prides in the 9 heavens, Wang Tianting naturally would not back down easily. The 4 of them did not give way to each other and stood against each other. Powerful auras filled the air and almost covered half of the heavenly lake. Boom! Accompanied by the sound of spiritual power hitting the void, Bai Shixin made the first move. With a punch, violent spiritual power condensed into the shadow of a white lion, biting towards Wang Tianting. At the side, Sima Ren and the Spider Princess also attacked Wang Tianting. They were all local sky prides in the Emperor's Road, but Wang Tianting was an outsider. No matter how they looked at it, they should get rid of him first. Palm of the 5 elements. Wang Tianting suddenly roared and struck out with his palm. The light of the 5 elements flowed in the void and spiritual power surged out, turning into a huge colorful palm. Several different types of energy collided with each other, exploding into a violent shockwave that sent the surrounding prodigies flying away one by one. What terrifying strength! It's at least equivalent to a 5th step, no, even a 7th step holy ruler. So strong. As expected of the top existence below the forbidden sky prides. In the Snow Lotus, Shang Qingxue was also watching the battle attentively. Wang Tianting's strength is much stronger than when he was in the firmament star. Shang Qingxue murmured. However, this was normal. After all, a year had passed. As the top sky prides, it was impossible for them to stay the same. After a wave of energy collided, the 4 sky prides were all pushed back. A trickle of blood flowed out from the corner of Wang Tianting's mouth. Even though he had improved a lot in the past year, it was still too much for him to fight one against 3 top-notch geniuses who were no weaker than him. Wang Tianting, you are no match for the 3 of us. You should just obediently leave. Otherwise, you will be asking for trouble, Bai Shixin said with a sneer. Leave? Impossible. Wang Tianting took out a quasi-emperor weapon that looked like a bronze bell. Its surface was overflowing with colorful lights and mysterious Daoist rhymes. It was the weapon that he was most familiar with after refining for so many years, the chaotic 5 elements bell. The chaos element 5 elements bell above Wang Tianting's head emitted rays of colorful light that enveloped his body like an indestructible barrier. I want to see how you can block it. Bai Shixin growled as he took out a pair of black gloves and put them on. Beast King's Fury. With a furious roar, an extremely terrifying Daoist rhyme erupted from Bai Shixin's body and he punched out like the king of all beasts. The white lion's shadow roared angrily as it collided with the colorful light barrier created by the chaos element 5 elements bell. Instantly, a violent storm erupted in the surroundings. Not far away, the heavenly lake started to ripple as a large amount of cold air surged. When the storm dissipated, Wang Tianting was seen standing proudly. He was completely unscathed by Bai Shixin's punch. This bell actually has such a strong defense. Bai Shixin, the Spider Princess, and Sima Ren frowned. If we can't break this barrier, how are we going to deal with this fellow? The Spider Princess asked. You guys can't defeat me. How about this, we split this snow lotus equally? Wang Tianting suddenly spoke. How do we split it equally? This snow lotus has 12 petals. We will each get 3 petals. How about that? Wang Tianting had also thought it through. Given his current strength, it was unrealistic for him to snatch the snow lotus from the hands of the 3 ancient orthodoxies. In that case, he might as well take a step back and split the snow lotus first. Hearing Wang Tianting's words, the other 3 looked at each other and fell into deep thought. If you still don't agree, the energy of the snow lotus will be completely absorbed by that woman. When that happens, no one will be able to obtain it. Wang Tianting said. Alright, then let's each take a step back and split this snow lotus equally. Consider yourself lucky. If it wasn't for that defensive treasure of yours, you wouldn't even be able to get a single strand of hair today. Bai Shixin snorted coldly and looked at Xianxia. He threw a punch, and the surging spiritual power smashed against the barrier formed by the cold air of the Heaven Lake. The entire Heaven Lake shook violently. However, although this force was powerful, it was still unable to break through the barrier. As expected of the barrier condensed by the cold air of the Heaven Lake. It is indeed not that easy to break. However, woman, do you think you can rest easy like this? White Lion thought as he activated his spiritual energy again. The phantom of a white lion emerged from his body and rushed out, smashing into the wall of cold air. A crack suddenly appeared on the originally indestructible barrier. I'll help you too. Wang Tianting, the Spider Princess, and Sima Ren made their moves as well. Sword Qi, the power of the 5 elements, and the power of wind and snow all landed on the wall of cold air. A large number of cracks instantly extended, covering the entire barrier. Not good. Xianxia's expression changed slightly. Under the joint attack of 4 top-notch prodigies, the cold air barrier could no longer withstand it. With a loud bang, the cold air barrier shattered, and a large amount of turbulent energy surged towards Xianxia. She activated the spiritual power in her body and slashed out with her sword. Cold frost sword she interweaved into a sword net in front of her, blocking the surging energy. Although she was not injured, she did not look too good. This energy was only the aftermath of the cold air barrier shattering. It did not mean that she had the ability to deal with Wang Tianting and the other top-notch prodigies. Although she had improved very quickly over the past year, she could only deal with one at most. Against the joint attack of 4 prodigies, she had no chance of winning at all. Woman, you seem to be quite strong. However, it's a pity that you've encountered us. Before Shuai Yan could form another cold air barrier, Bai Shixin made his move again. The phantom lion that was formed from spiritual power and Daoist rhymes charged towards Xianxia with unparalleled might. Wherever it went, the void trembled and the cold air in the heavenly lake tumbled. Just as Xianxia was about to fight back with all her might, a cold voice rang out from afar. I'd like to see who dares to harm a member of the Black Heaven sect. Before the person arrived, his voice reached them first. Then, a palm chi shot out. The palm chi was so majestic that it instantly shattered the phantom lion. Not only that, but after the palm chi shattered the phantom lion, it was still extremely powerful and swept towards Wang Tianting and the other 3 prodigies. What? The 4 prodigies' expressions changed drastically. They immediately activated their spiritual power in an attempt to fight back. However, Wang Tianting seemed to have sensed something and did not have the courage to fight back at all. He immediately activated the 5 elements mixed element bell to its limit, and a dazzling 5-colored radiance instantly enveloped him. However, even this ever-victorious boundary emperor weapon did not give him any sense of security. He looked into the distance with fear in his eyes. He's here. Chapter 508. Who dares to harm my Black Heaven sect's disciples? Accompanied by the arrogant words, a palm chi suddenly swept over from afar. After the violent palm chi shattered the white lion's shadow, it continued to sweep towards White Lion Xian and the others. The few who were targeted by the palm chi could not evade it at all. They could only channel their spiritual power to resist the attack. However, the power of that palm was too terrifying. Even though the few of them shared the brunt of the attack, they were still sent flying hundreds of meters away. They spat out blood and their faces turned pale. Only Wang Tianting, who was using the mixed 5-elemental bell to defend himself, fared better. He looked into the distance with fear in his eyes. He's here. That guy is really here. As a top-notch sky pride, Wang Tianting had never been afraid of anyone in the younger generation in the 9 heavens, except for the forbidden sky prides. However, a year ago, he met someone when he descended to the lower realm to fight for the Emperor's opportunity of fortune. That person had never exchanged blows with him. They had never even spoken to each other. However, that person gave him a huge shock and left an indelible impression in his heart. Now, he could feel that person's aura again. A ray of light landed on the surface of the heavenly lake. That person was dressed in white and had black hair. He was handsome and otherworldly, and everyone's eyes lit up. It's him. Wang Tianting gulped. Chu Kuangren stood on the surface of the heavenly lake. The cold chi around him did not affect him in the slightest. He glanced at Xianxia, who was on the snow lotus, and activated his eye of revelation. Xianxia, sage cultivation level, frost physique upgrading, progress at 90%, Chu Kuangren was amazed. The frost physique was already a top-notch Daoist physique. If it was upgraded, it would become a supreme Daoist physique. He did not expect Xianxia to have such an opportunity of fortune. Sect leader. Upon seeing Chu Kuangren, Xianxia's face lit up, and her heart instantly calmed down. She knew that as long as the man before her was here, any difficulties would be easily solved. It was a kind of blind worship. Truth be told, Chu Kuangren's name had become an existence that everyone in the Black Heaven sect worshipped. Alright, stay here and improve your Daoist physique. Leave the rest to me. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. He looked at Bai Shixin and the others before him and said with an indifferent expression, "How dare you guys try to hurt the people of my Black Heaven sect?" Black Heaven sect? Which orthodoxy is this? I've never heard of it. It's probably an orthodoxy from the outside world. I know almost all the forces in the 9 heavens, but this is the first time I've heard of the Black Heaven sect. Bai Shixin and the others were bewildered. They had never heard of the Black Heaven sect. Logically speaking, it should not be an ancient orthodoxy. However, the strength that Chu Kuangren had displayed was just too powerful. Just a single palm strike was enough to severely injure 3 elite geniuses. Not only that, who knew how much strength he had used in that single palm strike? Chu Kuangren, if you want this frozen heart lotus, I can let you have it. Wang Tianting said loudly, shocking everyone. He did not expect a top-notch sky pride to be so cowardly in front of Chu Kuangren. What did you just say? Give it to me? Chu Kuangren laughed before his tones suddenly turned extremely cold. Give way. If I wanted it, do I need you to give way? Upon hearing that, Wang Tianting's face instantly turned pale. He felt as if he had said something stupid. I don't care who you are, but this place has been sealed off by a few great orthodoxies. You better hand over the frozen heart lotus and leave this place. Bai Shixin took out a medicinal pill and swallowed it as he said loudly. Although Chu Kuangren's strength was terrifying, the heavenly lake was surrounded by strong cultivators from the ancient orthodoxies. There were even boundary emperors among them. Bai Shixin believed that even a forbidden sky pride would not be able to take the frozen heart lotus away unscathed. Little kitty, you're too noisy. Chu Kuangren said calmly before he gently pointed a finger at Bai Shixin. A surge of finger strength exploded. Bai Shixin's pupils dilated as if he was locked on by some terrifying energy. Before he could react, his mind was shaken, and he lost consciousness for a moment. Then, his head exploded like a watermelon. Red and white matter splattered everywhere. The Spider Princess, Sima Ren, and the others were the closest to him. Before they could react, their bodies were splattered with blood. They were stunned on the spot, trembling with fear in their eyes. It was too terrifying. Before they could even react, a top prodigy had his head smashed into smithereens right in front of them. This kind of power was too terrifying. Lionheart. An angry roar came from afar. A Daoist figure dashed towards them, looking at the headless corpse on the ground with grief and anger. That person was the Boundary Emperor Bai Lei, whom Chu Kuangren had casually dismissed. B** starred. Are you guys not going to make a move? Bai Lei roared, and a few figures immediately dashed out from all directions. These people all emanated extremely powerful auras. They were the Boundary Emperors sent by the ancient orthodoxies to monitor the opportunities of fortune at the Heavenly Lake. The few of them looked at Chu Kuangren fearfully. This person is not easy to deal with. Indeed, his combat strength is no weaker than a Boundary Emperor's. I can't believe there's such a terrifying sky pride in the outside world. This person is definitely a forbidden existence. Chu Kuangren sized up the few people in front of him and said, I've beaten the young one, and now the old one is here. You ancient orthodoxies are doing this too. You're just bullying me because I have no background. Kid, where did you come from? The few Boundary Emperors did not dare to make a move. Do you want to fight? If you're not going to make a move, then get lost. You, B** starred. The Snow Spider Clan's Boundary Emperor's expression darkened. Without another word, he immediately attacked. Omnipresent Web. With a palm attack, a large amount of spider silk surged and turned into a giant web that enveloped Chu Kuangren. What a disappointing strength. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. The Descendant's self-sword at his waist clanged and revealed half of its sword ray. The sword ray poured out with unparalleled sharpness. The giant spider silk web was instantly torn in half by the sword ray. However, the sword ray was unstoppable as it surged towards the Snow Spider Clan's Boundary Emperor. With a tearing sound, a mist of blood gushed out. A dignified Boundary Emperor was easily torn in half by the sword ray like a thin piece of paper. Everyone at the scene could not help but narrow their eyes and feel a tingling sensation on their scalps. One sword attack, no, half a sword attack killed a Boundary Emperor. My goodness, what kind of combat strength is this? Who the hell is this guy? How can there be such a terrifying sky pride? The remaining 3 Boundary Emperors were so shocked that they staggered 2 steps back. Wang Tianting's eyes were filled with shock. It's only been a year, and this guy's strength has become even more unfathomable. Let's go. Bai Lei gulped. He no longer cared about revenge, so he turned around and left with his people. Faced with Chu Kuangren's terrifying combat strength that could kill a Boundary Emperor in seconds, they had no intention of fighting back. Chapter 509. All hail the sect leader. Behind Chu Kuangren, Shang Qingxue could not help but cheer excitedly. Her eyes were filled with admiration. Let's go. Wang Tianting and the others planned to leave. However, an inexplicable chill suddenly enveloped him, causing him to shudder. The others may leave, but the one who attacked my Black Heaven sect's disciple cannot leave. As soon as Chu Kuangren finished speaking, Wang Tianting instantly turned into a stream of light and dashed away. He wanted to escape. However, Chu Kuangren gently lifted his hand and an invisible wave of mind power spread out. No matter how fast Wang Tianting was, how could he be faster than Chu Kuangren's mind power? In an instant, Wang Tianting's body was frozen in midair. No matter how much he channeled his spiritual power, he could not break free. It was as if an invisible giant hand was squeezing him tightly. Stop. He's a sky pride of the Wang family, and the Wang family is an ancient orthodoxy. If you dare to kill him, as a subsidiary force of the Wang family, the Gu family's Boundary Emperor could no longer sit still and shouted. Boom! Wang Tianting's body exploded into a bloody mist in the air. Chu Kuangren tilted his head and looked at the Gu family's Boundary Emperor. What do you mean if I kill him? You, The Gu family's boundary emperor looked at Chu Kuangren, so angry that he could not even form a complete sentence. You what? You can't even speak properly, how can you call yourself a boundary emperor? Chu Kuangren sneered and looked at the spider princess and Sima Ren. When they saw him staring at them, their faces turned pale and they quickly hid behind their boundary emperors. It was obvious that they were scared out of their wits by Chu Kuangren. Fellow Daoist, the Snow Spider clan is willing to pay 150 kilograms of spiritual source. Please spare the Spider Princess. The same goes for the Sima family. Spiritual source was a spiritual chi crystallization that was a grade higher than soul stones and spiritual marrows. A kilogram of spiritual source was equivalent to 100 million top-tier soul stones. Boom, boom. However, as soon as the two boundary emperors finished speaking, runic swords suddenly appeared beside the Spider Princess and Sima Ren. In the blink of an eye, the runic swords shot out and engulfed the Spider Princess and Sima Ren in violent runic energy. Spider Princess. Sima Ren. When the quasi-emperors of the Sima clan from the Snow Spider lineage saw this, their expressions could not help changing drastically. Top-notch geniuses were the most precious resources for any orthodoxy, but now, the geniuses of several orthodoxies had successively fallen here. The hearts of the quasi-emperors were bleeding. They glared at Chu Kuangren. If looks could kill, they would have already sliced Chu Kuangren into 1,000 pieces. Let's go. The few quasi-emperors gritted their teeth, turned around, and left with the remaining people. They did not dare to tangle with Chu Kuangren any longer. Otherwise, who knew how many more sky prides would die? It was especially so for the Snow Spider lineage. They had already lost a sub-emperor and an elite. They could not afford to suffer any more losses. Human, just you wait. I won't let this matter rest. The few quasi-emperors who left cursed inwardly. When most of the people had left, Chu Kuangren looked at Shang Qingxue who was in the Snow Lotus and activated his Eye of Revelation. Frost Daoist physique upgrading, progress, 94%, alright, tell me how you got here, Chu Kuangren asked. I'm not too sure myself. After I entered the Emperor's path, I was teleported to a space beneath the heavenly lake by a surge of spatial energy. Not long after I finished communicating with the sect leader, I fainted, and when I woke up, I was already on top of the icy heart lotus. Shang Qingxue explained. After Chu Kuangren heard that, he clicked his tongue in wonder. Looks like you're quite lucky to have been transported into the heavenly lake and coincidentally met with the appearance of the icy heart lotus. Your physique is very compatible with the icy heart lotus's attributes, and it actually managed to make it recognize you as its master, thus obtaining this opportunity. He had heard some rumors about the icy heart lotus. If it was someone else who had obtained this rare treasure, he might have tried to snatch it from them. However, since it was Shang Qingxue's, he would only be happy for her. After all, they were family. There was still some time before the icy heart lotus fused with Shang Qingxue and the Frost Daoist physique upgrade, so Chu Kuangren did not mind waiting a little longer. After the Snow Spider and Snow Lion lineages had retreated, the barrier disappeared as well. The Heaven Lake was once again exposed to the eyes of countless people. Many people ran into the Heaven Lake in an attempt to fight for the opportunity. Heavenly Pond energy, Heavenly Pond ice crystals. For most cultivators, these were very useful treasures. However, they all knew that the real opportunity lay in the Heaven Lake. This time, Tian Chi Mountain's unusual movements must be because of the changes in Tian Chi that is where the real fortune lies. Only, I don't know why those great orthodoxies suddenly left. Could it be that they already obtained the fortune of the Celestial Pond? Let's go and try our luck. Some people came to the Heaven Lake with the idea of trying their luck and seeing if they could get lucky. As soon as they arrived at the Heaven Lake, they saw the huge ice heart snow lotus. However, at this time, the petals of the snow lotus were closed, like a flower bud that had yet to bloom. Ice heart snow lotus. Who would have thought that the ice heart snow lotus would actually appear here? But why? How many orthodoxies didn't take it away? I don't care. The treasure is right in front of me. It would be a waste not to take it. Everyone was ecstatic as they rushed toward Shuel Yen. However, at this moment, a sharp sword chi slashed across the snow-covered ground, leaving a huge sword mark on the ground. A sage who was closest to the sword mark was so shocked that he broke out in cold sweat. Just now, if he had been a step faster, that sword chi would have been enough to tear him into two halves. Anyone who crosses the sword mark shall die. An indifferent voice came from not far away. Everyone looked at a large rock by the shore of the Heaven Lake. They saw a white-robed young man sitting on the edge of the lake with his back facing the crowd. His jet-black hair fluttered in the wind, giving off an otherworldly vibe. What a farce. One of the sages glanced at the ice-heart snow lotus in the Heaven Lake and could not hold back his desire for it. He snorted and lifted his leg to cross the sword mark. However, when his right leg crossed the sword mark, a sword chi suddenly burst out from the sword mark before his left leg could even move. With a loud tearing sound, that sword chi tore the person who crossed the line in half right in front of everyone. There will always be idiots who want to test the limits. Don't tell me you guys are as stupid as him. Chu Kuangren's voice once again entered everyone's ears. At this moment, no one doubted his words anymore. Everyone looked at the sword mark on the ground as if they were looking at a line between life and death. They quickly took a few steps back, not daring to cross it. This young man seems to be the one who trespassed into the Heaven Lake. It seems that it's because of him that the ancient orthodoxies did not take the Iceheart Snow Lotus away. That should be the case. But who exactly is this person? How can he force the ancient orthodoxies to retreat? Everyone looked at the back of the figure who was sitting by the lake with respect and fear in their eyes. A person who could force the ancient orthodoxies to retreat was definitely not someone they could fight against. At that moment, the snow lotus in the Heaven Lake suddenly swayed, and then its 12 petals slowly opened. You're tuning into the Carefree Valley YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.